All right. Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much today for joining us today. I've got my paralegal Super Bowl helping out. We just ended day 11, week 3 of the New Jersey versus Paul Caneiro trial, and I'm happy to bring on Claire. Hello, hello, Claire.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Short week, but exhausting week, actually.
It really was. Guys, this is week 3. We are
Mm.
doing our weekly recap of week 3. Let me just put that behind us there. All right. So, wow. Yes. So, trial, we had the snowstorm hit over the weekend. Trial was off
Mm-hmm.
on Monday. How did you fare? Let's start with that. How did you fare with the snowstorm?
Oh, we did get quite a bit, and it was as predicted. The worst part was the wind and the ice. Unfortunately, things aren't melting like normal. Here, I live central Monmouth County, right near right in the courthouse area, like a couple of blocks actually from it, and actually, it was actually the very much of the drizzly rain when the temperature went up a little bit that coated all of this foot of snow, almost foot of snow in some areas that we got.
Yeah.
That makes it really hard because it's not going anywhere. The temperature. I mean, I woke up this morning; it was 6 degrees, and
6?
yes, 6, and then they're like, "Oh, it's gonna warm up today." It got to 21. Like, yeah, okay, yay. But there's no movement of this snow, which is what makes it kind of iffy for the weekend because if we get more, that's going to be on ties of the at top of the ice. And
Mhm.
when I talk about the ice, it's not like your normal, like little thin on the sidewalk a little bit. You can get rid of it with ice melt or sand or protected. I mean, literally, my dog's trying to go in the backyard and falls through the ice and he gets trapped, just like if
Mm.
he fell through a lake. He can't move. He
Wow.
can't go forward, backwards. We had to dig him out. Like, it
Wow.
was the poor thing, and he's a husky. He loves the snow, but he's not loving this snow. Like this, he's like, no, this isn't snow. I don't know what this is. This isn't something he likes at all. But
Wow.
yeah, you can't
So
no matter what you do with your sidewalk, you can't, get it dry, you know. But
So how deep is it? Because a husky's fairly big. So how
yeah,
far down does it go?
he's an 80-pound dog,
Yeah.
he's a mixed breed. He also has some kind of hound in him, like Norwegian water dog, those black dogs with the good water hair. Like he's got that in him too. He's a
Right.
rescue dog. And he's pretty big and he's tall,
Mhm.
like so yeah, I mean my backyard even like it's a foot. It's like
Wow.
a foot of snow. It's
Wow.
like it's a good 11, 12 inches. Then there's the drifts, but we do get that, but we usually have a good thaw right afterwards. We don't have this like cold weather, sealing it in for
Mhm.
long. Not
Right.
usual.
Right.
Yeah.
I
So
remember as a kid, I would love it was as a kid it was great. As a car driver, it was terrible, but I would love it when it would rain and then it would
mhm,
freeze up because then I would take my sled and I would go down our driveway, or I grew up next to an Amish farm, so I would go in their pasture and
mhm,
I would just take the sled, not the toboggan, but the sled,
mhm.
and I would go down it. It was probably about 300 or 400
Mhm.
yards and just cruise down
It's
that.
great for that
I love
because
it.
it's all solid, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you're not, like, going I like, sometimes when you're sledding, you go into the snow, and it's not really if it's
Right.
too fluffy or whatever, but with that little sheen of ice on it, it's really good, and
Mhm.
you go really fast, right? It's
Yep.
also great for the kids if you built a snowman, it's gonna last because like, the ice went
Yeah.
on it, there, it's there. It's
Yeah.
like Iceman now. Like
Yeah, it becomes an ice person versus a snow person.
right, right.
Yeah.
So it's great for that, but it's not so great if you're a homeowner and you're responsible for keeping your walkways
Right.
clear for the mailmen and for people that are traveling. That's a homeowner responsible. It's not good for that at all.
Yep.
Because even
Yeah.
if you use a snow blower, that leaves like a dusting.
Mhm.
If you use a snow blower, which most everyone in our area is using because it's so much, you don't want to be out there physically shoving hard.
Mhm.
So for the majority of it, you use a snow blower, it leaves that sheen. That sheen is frozen solid. It's not
Mhm.
moving with ice. Ice melt only works to a certain temperature. Like it
Mhm.
actually needs to melt it, and if it's melting and refreezing, it's just freezing the ice melt into it,
Right. It goes down to like maybe 25 degrees or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
It's
it's 6 degrees, like, it's of
yes,
no help. We
yeah.
had to convert to sand because at least sand gives you traction,
Yep.
and at
Yep.
least you're not sliding from the front door all the way to the car,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
but,
And it's not like
yeah.
you can chip away at it, right? You can't chip away at it because
You can, 'cause it depends on the surface that you have. If you've got good
yeah,
cement surface, yes, but if you've got a tar driveway, do you wanna do that? Do you want
no.
all those little holes of the shovel, like, and
No.
have to redo your driveway? And people that have, like, the brick driveways with the space in between, like, it's not gonna
Mhm.
help. It's just gonna
Yeah.
destroy a lot of your property. It's just,
Right.
something we're just gonna have to deal with. Everybody just has to be careful.
Mhm.
The roads have been pretty good, though. I will say that if
Mhm.
you can get to your car from your house, like if you could get in your car and out of your own property and onto the main roads they've been doing good because they kept on top of them as it was happening.
Right. Right.
So there's not a lot of buildup or anything. And so, it's been okay.
Right. Now, what's the latest? I haven't watched the weather today. Have you seen, is this track going to come and affect you guys? And if so, when
Yeah,
is
they're predicting another 11 inches. Like we're in the pink zone, which said
uh,
something like anywhere from 6 to 11 inches. And I'm like, with the Jersey Shore, like they say, like here, like usually things just drift by us. They'll put us on the map that it's going to hit, and then we've got, if it, most times with the weather, it's because you've got the ocean involved and the winds and whatever, and it pushes things
mhm,
off track or whatever,
right,
however that works.
right,
Um, I'm hoping not. I mean, most times I hear about a big storm and I get all ready and then nothing happens.
right, right.
But I'm
Well,
thinking we have court Monday, so that saying about Murphy's Law?
mhm,
Like, so because we do have court Monday and they didn't already pre-cancel, I'm
right.
pretty sure we're gonna get snow.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. Well, I
you
always say prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So I guess
exactly. Be
that's all I
prepared,
can
but,
do.
like, hope
Yeah.
you don't have to do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
So, all right.
Operate
Well,
with plan A and just have a plan B just in case.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're safe and you survived snowmageddon.
Yeah,
Round one, round two is knocking on your door. um,
yeah.
we
Just hope.
down here
Yeah.
is they're talking about snow in Tampa all the way possibly hitting
Mhm.
Orlando. I have a friend in West Palm, which is where I used to live with Erin way back when, and Fort Lauderdale. She's we've been texting because I've known her since high school, and we have
Mhm.
another friend in Tampa. So she just texted saying they got an alert for 20 degrees in West Palm. Fort
This
Lauderdale is
year.
supposed to be 39. This is unheard
You
of. This
guys
is
aren't used to that. I know. I
just
watch
unheard of.
these animal rescue channels, and they have all of these, like, goats and pigs and everything, and they've
Mhm.
had to bring them all in the house
Yeah.
because they are so used to just being able to leave them out even in inclement weather or whatever.
Mhm.
It never gets, like, below 55.
No.
They had this big massive alert when it hit 40, and now they're looking at snow. And
Mhm.
Texas,
Mhm.
another one that I watch in Texas, and they had snow and ice on the ground, and they were, like, freaking out, and I'm like, and it was only like 3 inches, so I was kinda laughing at them a little bit because 'cause I'm looking out my yard going, "You just have no idea."
Yeah.
Like,
No, no. Yeah. It's all relative, right? It's all relative. Like
yeah.
when I tell people, oh, it's cold. It's 40 degrees here. They're like, are you kidding? It's zero or it's 10 degrees, you know?
Yeah, it's
So
like my friends in Canada are like, "Ha ha, like, so what? Like, it'll be done in a week for you." It's like 3 months out of the year for a solid, like,
right, right, right. Maybe by June, Canada might see snow melt,
yeah.
but
If you're up near Manitoba or anything, like, way up, like, in
yeah,
Canada, and, like, you don't see it until, like, halfway through spring, you find the ground. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
so they're
Aaron,
laughing at me.
yeah, Aaron told me a funny story once. I think she went home. She's from Buffalo, and she went to Buffalo one July 4th, and I think she
Mhm.
said it like snowed or something on July 4th. It was so
I was
cold there.
it's true. I was
Yeah,
on, Mirror Lake in the Adirondacks on the
mhm,
4th of July in a canoe, and snowflakes were hitting my head, but
yeah,
I was wearing short sleeves. It's so weird because it comes off the mountain and it
right,
comes
right.
down, even though it's like a beautiful day and there was snow, and it was very weird to experience. So I feel
Mhm.
it up there in the mountains in north upper
Just
state New York. Yeah.
how crazy, crazy. All right, I just want to
We
pull this
start
up.
with the end.
Yeah, Jenny G, thank you for the 5 Trial TV Live gifted memberships. Really appreciate
Mhm.
that. Thank you so
Oh, that's
much.
lovely.
So
You have a lovely chat, by the way. They're so friendly
thank
and they're
you.
so
Thank you.
into it. I do. I don't get a lot of live chat anymore. I do
Mhm.
mostly, replay video, like post commentary kind of stuff, like shortening things.
Yeah,
And so it's so nice to talk with everybody, But I want to start with the end, Chris, because
sure. Yeah, yeah. Go
the
ahead.
end of today, the end of the week,
Yes.
okay? Wow, those were fireworks. I mean, in speaking legally in attorney stuff, like if you
Mhm.
look at it legally, man, did Mastodon come out. She's been kind of glum all week. I noticed the look on her face. I think that you're
Mhm.
really seeing the pressure on the defense right now when they
Mhm.
get into such hardcore physical evidence.
Mhm.
Okay, and emotional physical evidence. When you have people on the stand talking about the condition of the bodies, how many stab wounds,
Right.
what happened, blood everywhere. They're looking at a scene that's chaotic, full of blood, and they're thinking about children and
Yeah.
family members, and it's very emotional. And you could see it on her. Like, this is not like, no, she came out gangbusters today. She
Mhm.
was taking no prisoners.
Mhm.
But I don't think it was playing well with the jury. I think she was
Mhm.
overly that comment to the lead detective was rude.
Which part? Because she had a couple. She definitely had a couple. Which one
You're
stood out?
uh, let's see, I'll do my best, Mastodon. You're only the lead detective. You know,
Yeah.
very Jersey style, like, what? Like, excuse me, sir, you are like the hit. Well, the lead detective is a coordinator, first of all, and he does follow up investigation, and he's like overseeing a lot of it. But we've had how many people were referred to as the lead detective so far? I mean, you had Stephen Voigt just yesterday that who
Yeah.
was basically documenting with Castellone, who was like the head, like collecting all of the evidence. And
Mhm.
actually in New Jersey, custody, the chain of custody of evidence is a big thing. The only way it gets into court is the way that they're doing it. You got to go who collected it, who marked it, who touched it, where it went, when it came
Mhm.
back. Everybody who has hands on it has to speak on it to get
Right.
it like properly in, because without it, it just gets tossed completely. Now, I don't think they've had much to say about chain of custody. This investigative team, regardless of the fact that they didn't fleece Corey Caneiro or anybody else,
Mhm.
in the neighborhood of
Mhm.
this crime, has really done a bang up job with evidence and things like that. But I think the detective's answers today is we went where the evidence took us.
Mhm.
From day one, did they not get testimony from the wife of Corey Caneiro about the emails? Did they not speak to on the scene of the crime the very first day
Mhm.
the friend of Keith Caneiro who
Mhm.
spoke of everything?
Yep.
And what about immediately suspecting arson in Paul Caneiro's own home? What
Mhm.
about Paul Caneiro giving them misleading information as soon as they spoke to him on site on the 20th at his own home?
Mhm.
Lied to their face and they knew it.
Mhm. Yeah.
How do you get around that? And
Mhm.
for me, as a taxpayer for law enforcement, do I want them when they got leads like that? Do I want them playing yo-yo cop and going around in
Mhm.
27 different directions, wasting my taxpayer dollars?
Mhm.
When I want them following good, solid leads.
Yep.
And she can't prove they didn't follow a single good lead because
Mhm.
I'm sorry, gas station. Yes, there were
Mhm.
cars going by the gas station, and none of them looked like a Porsche, which
Mhm.
they already documented leaving his house when he's supposedly sleeping.
Mhm.
So why would they be looking for any other vehicle besides the Porsche?
Mhm.
Like that would be kind of silly, wouldn't it?
Of course, of course. And so they'd say, yeah, there were 20 other cars that went by at that time frame, which would have been 2:33, 4 o'clock. And so what? So we are all everything is leading towards Paul, and he's driving a certain vehicle, and oh, lo and behold, we see that vehicle over here. So we're going to focus on that. That's where we're going to, like you were saying just
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
that's where we're going to focus our
Yeah,
our
and like she does with the
investigation.
cameras in the neighborhood. Well, I don't see any documentation that you checked this house, and this house.
Mhm.
Like you guys have done a lot of trials. You
Mhm.
hear about this documentation and everyone in chat. Am I wrong? We never hear about all the no's. We only hear about the yeses.
Mhm.
We only hear about the probative, productive stuff that's done in an investigation. When
Right.
they say they did a canvas, very rarely do they list every single house they went to. They list the house they actually got some information from. They
Right.
list the house that's pertinent to the investigation, that actually gives people information.
Mhm.
Why would they document a 20-minute conversation with someone who has no camera, is
Mhm.
talking about the weather and complaining about the dog barking next door, which
Mhm.
happens during these investigations? A cop comes to your door, neighbor wants to talk to you about everything but, you know,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Do you want to see that in the trial? Do you want to see that in these police reports?
No, no. But the only reason I would say that I would do it is that if I was on the stand 3, 4, 5, 6 times and I got asked that question, then I would start to think, okay, went to house one, talked to neighbor, nothing of evidence there. Went to house two, talked to neighbor, nothing of evidence there. Went to house three, talked to evidence. Oh,
Mhm.
they have a ring camera. Boom, here's my report. Went
And
to house four, talked to
you
neighbor.
would be called in by your superior for wasting time, for taking too long to write your report,
Yeah.
okay, and worrying about the after fact instead of the investigation,
No, no, no.
because
You
one single sentence clarifies that.
well, that's what you would just say. You would say, went to house one, talked to neighbor,
Yeah,
nothing to
no, but
report.
not to each house, just ones that's like no other homes in the canvas
Oh, okay.
produced any.
Lump it
Okay,
together.
and that's what's in these reports.
Right,
That
right.
is how they documented in these reports.
Okay, so
That
they're
is,
already covering
yeah,
their butts with that question
yes,
then. Yeah.
but it's not good enough for Miss Mastalone because, like,
No.
she wants their butt not to be covered, you know?
She's trying and she's trying and she's trying, and we all get that, and we're all, we're people are
Yeah.
coming down on her, and we're trying to be like, "Chad, it's okay." She
No, I think she's doing a really good job, but
Yeah.
I did see a little bit of the frustration coming out in her this week because I think, she does feel the pressure up against the wall. The
Mhm,
evidence is stacking up and she's watching the jury. And
mhm,
every time, I mean, I don't think the jury is responding to her very well anyway. And every time the
mhm,
judge makes a remark, I understand why she would be upset because that also adds, whether he tells them not to be prejudiced or take it into consideration, they're human.
mhm.
And if they hear her being objected to, even by the judge,
Yeah.
in reasonableness, like, let's just be reasonable. Yes, you're not supposed to take that into consideration. Are you going to
Mhm,
tell me it's not? Like, I think it actually is. And I think
yeah,
she does have concern in that area. And I think she should. Her
yeah,
and Andy Miller. I don't think they're coming off
yeah.
very nice at all. Like, they're coming off as, because it takes them so long to make their point. I don't think the jury's getting the point.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think the jury is noticing that they're just talking, they are both talking to the jury most of the time and not the witness. I don't
Mhm,
even think they care if the witness answers half the time because they have already given all the information out to the jury they want them to have in the
mhm.
question.
Yeah.
Like,
I've found that quite often, probably 99% of the time, they just both her and Mr. Murray go over exactly what happened in direct, and there's just a few little nuggets here and there. Like I tend I don't want to do this, but I kind of sometimes I zone out and I'm like looking at chat or I'm doing something else, and then
mhm.
I'll hear something and I'm like, oh wait, I gotta focus on that. So she'll occasionally get something in there, like the second set of jeans up in
Mhm.
the bedroom.
And for what purpose? Doesn't everybody own more than one pair of jeans? What human being on this
I
planet that
know.
owns jeans or wears jeans has only one pair?
I know. And she kept trying to bring Lisa in. She kept trying to bring the gray and white T-shirt from Lisa, which is ended up being, I didn't know this, but you guys, I think you
Well,
said it.
there's 2, it's confusion. Alyssa is the daughter, and Elisa
Yeah,
is the wife of Corey
Corey.
Caneiro.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Either one could have a shirt there. This is a tight-knit family that did a lot of stuff together,
Yep. Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, and we thought, she could have. There's any number of reasons why I could have been there. She could have been swimming over the summer or the fall. She could have been, hey, just here borrowing. You like this top? Here it is. She could have slept over, taken a shower, and forgot to pick it up. Whatever. I mean, there's any number of reasons
And
why.
I would be right there with the defense on these kind of things if they had anything else to tie it in with. Every time they mention Corey, all they do is talk about his prior financial troubles and that
Mhm,
he is also a beneficiary. But show me where he had accents. Or, like, here's the problem. They're already dealing with the fact that slam dunk on financial crimes.
mhm.
Both a person who actually is working and getting paid while collecting full-time disability.
Mhm.
Hands down, guilty of that. No contest anything on
Right.
that.
Right.
Okay. Jury already knows about this. Okay. They already know that he's misappropriating funds. I think they proved that pretty solidly when they proved that he changed the name of where the money was going, and it was going into his account. Okay. I think
Mhm.
that was like slam dunk. So these are things where they already know, the jury, hands down. It's not even being contested. Did you hear Miss Mestalone contest anything with financial crimes? They really have no answer for any of that.
No.
So coming from that perspective, what do we care that Corey's on there? Does he
Mhm.
have access to the trust? Is he fighting with Keith? Is
Mhm.
his vehicle on any video anywhere? Did he lie to the police in any way about where he was
Mhm.
at the
Was
time of the crime?
right. Was his blood on jeans along with Sophia and Jesse's? Yeah.
That's going to be hot. That's going to be fireworks. You got to get ready. You need popcorn, and you
Mhm.
may need a sedative, because if they had a 3 week, hearing on just allowing that in because of how
Mhm.
it was tested.
Mhm.
Because probabilistic geno testing, which is one of the ways they tested, that's that company from New Zealand, the Streamex,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It actually related to family. And they're
Mhm.
say that it could not be Paul, it could just as well be Corey or
Mhm.
anybody else related. His
Mhm.
father, his mother, like anybody.
Right.
Okay. And but here's the thing. The more that she stresses that timeline, which I'll admit is tight. I know you wanted to talk to me about that. It's tight.
Mhm. Just that
But
one part. Just that one part.
well, if you think about the person that they're saying they believe did the crime,
Mhm.
has full knowledge of every system in that house,
Mhm.
actually installed and
Mhm.
helped put every system in that house,
Mhm.
full knowledge of the layout, full knowledge of the actual uh, 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 occupants of that house, all of their behaviors, what they do routinely.
Mhm. Mhm.
Somebody who could navigate that timeline is that person.
Mhm.
Not somebody out off on the street, not
Right.
the other brother. The only
Right.
one who could navigate the order that things, especially, here's the thing, especially the order of how things had to happen with the electric and the
Mhm.
generator. The
Right.
generator is designed to pick up the power as soon as the electric goes out. Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
all of that time to do all of that is because he understands how that works and had to dismantle it in a certain order and go
Mhm.
back and forth to make sure no alarms went off on that generator to wake his brother up too soon.
Right. It's not some cartel, it's not some family,
Yes.
it's not some,
Ye
something like that. So, no, I'm totally down with the timeline. It's the 342 where the fiber optics gets cut and the alert goes out to Verizon to the
Okay, that's in the
348.
basement, right?
Yeah,
That's in the basement, right?
that's in the storage
And so
closet where the fire
and
starts. That's the origin.
that is the direct system that he installed, which
Yep.
was given testimony by the Square One employee that he was there for it, part of
Yes.
it. He knows
Yep.
that system really well. That's the last thing that has to be cut because it actually, what if it has a power surge? Okay, a lot of these systems are built, and I know this from business, they have their own cell battery that operates for an hour,
Okay.
not a power surge protector, and also
Like
to keep things up so you could safely bring them down.
right.
Do you know what I'm talking
I
about here?
do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What if there's something like that there built into the system?
There very well could be. There very yeah. I'm sure there's battery backup and a
Which is
system.
why after the power is cut, it could still send an alarm. Okay. It could have also just been a delay in it too. Who knows where it has to go before it comes back to do this actual
Well,
acknowledgement,
it's
right?
confirmed there was like a minute delay from Verizon. There is like a minute delay. There is like a minute
Okay.
delay. So okay,
Okay.
so my
And
I don't it's not
who's
like I have an issue or whatever, but what I'm trying to figure out, okay, I put it up there. It's really that 342, the Verizon fiber is cut, and to the 348 Paul leaves. So that's 6 minutes. And even if you give there's a delay from Verizon getting the alert, so just say 341. So say that's like 6 to 7 minutes. So Keith had to get I'm sorry, Paul had to get out of the house wherever he was parked, and we think he was parked in that driveway, the neighbor's
Mhm.
driveway, which is probably maybe 100 yards, 100, 200 yards. He had to clean up because there was no blood found in his car. So he
Ah,
had to,
did he? All he has to do is change his gloves and put something over the seat and change into slippers or take his shoes off. We already know he was walking around in this kind of weather with no shirt on in his own home at
that's true.
1:37 in the morning. Did he actually have to change? Physically change everything?
If he had something, yeah, okay. Well, it's a pretty gruesome scene. It's there's definitely blood
I'm
all over the place.
I
So
can picture him in his underwear driving with gloves on home with something over the seat because I have that other piece in my head where the cadaver dog hit the back trunk of that Porsche, which
mhm,
means what he was wearing or something from inside that house that had the bodies
mhm.
was in that trunk, meaning the jeans, the gloves, yeah, it was in the trunk when he drove home.
So, okay. So why then okay, so there were gloves found a mile from the house, 500 feet back
We
from where,
don't know if there's no DNA that says that they have anything to do
yeah.
with.
So I think that
First
can
of
be
all,
discounted,
think
right?
about the testimony. The dog that found it is only a scent dog. It's not a cadaver dog, and it wasn't there to scent anything for Paul Caneiro or anyone in the family. The
Right.
dog was just looking for human scent and found a mile away a pair of gloves.
Right. So he didn't have time to
Those
do that and get home because it was a
do
20
those
minute.
and those gloves don't match any other gloves that were found on the scene or anywhere else. So
Okay. So we can discount the
okay, so
gloves.
yeah, and they're
Yeah.
making a big deal about it because it's part of discovery, and they knew that defense was going to make a big deal about it. So they're mentioning it and they're documenting it, and they did what they can, but no testing has come back that it has anything to do with this crime.
Right. So okay, let's discount that. That's a red herring, if you will. All right. So again, I'm just going back to that 6 minute time frame,
Mm-hmm.
and he left the house. He did everything that he needed to do. He had plenty of time to do what he needed to do. Did that. It's the leaving of the house at 3:41, 3:42, getting to his car. So that's the big question. Where was he parked? He must have been close enough, I'd say 100 to 200 yards away. And he could very easily do it. He was 51 at the time. I
Could
know when
he
I was 51,
reasonably be even as close as the end of the Keith Caneiro's driveway and not be picked up on camera?
you think, and how long was that driveway? Like maybe 50 yards,
Did you
100
see
yards?
the hedges where
Yeah.
the other neighbor pulled out and parked?
Yeah. Okay. So he could easily do that in 20 seconds. You can run 50 yards, and especially with the adrenaline. I mean, think of what he
My
just did,
point.
you know?
Yes, that's the other thing, the chaotic scene. Think of
Yeah.
the wounds. Think of the scene, okay? That
Yeah.
is somebody going really quickly. That's why there's so many wounds on the kids and
Yeah.
on Jennifer and on everyone. And that actually the testimony today from Judy Link for forensics, okay,
Mhm.
saying that that shot to the back of the head was close up. He was
Mhm.
waiting for him to come out. I don't think he had the chance to fight with him. I don't know how that tree got knocked down, but I no longer think it was a scuffle
Yeah. So
between the two of
that's
them.
my other question to you. Do you think he was ambushed, or do you think Keith had time to go to the generator and or the electric box, see what happens, comes back and they
No.
fight? Do you think it
I
was
think Paul was waiting for him to come out. That shot where she says that shot was and how close it was kind of proves that to me. Plus, I don't think, they do have a long-term relationship, okay? And when it comes down to it, Keith is in better shape. He's younger, he's
Mhm.
bigger, and he could take Paul easy. You can't really tell from the body, but Keith Caneiro was not a slight guy. Paul Caneiro is tall. Okay, he does have a limp. He's got chronic back pain. He did have a terrible accident. He was immobilized for a long period of time.
Right.
Um,
Hold on. I just want to, okay. So Judith, let's get to that. So stippling, or let's see, GSR was found on C and H, and
mhm.
I'm looking at the back. Hold B, hold on. C and H had GSR, so there was nothing on the front. Oh wait, hold on. That's the back. It must have been the front. Let me go to the front. The front had holes G and H. Okay, this was confusing to me. Oh, wait, C. I have to find C. Where's C? Okay. All right. So this is what was confusing to me with this testimony. Her testimony actually confused me. Okay, so I'm looking at the front of the hoodie or the jacket, and the top part, whatever the hood, if you will,
Mhm.
the hole is on the right side, like here. So I understand that there's a gap. So does that mean? So she's saying that he was shot in the front, and H is like up here. So he was shot like here and here in the front, close range, and then everything
No,
else. So that it was.
those holes would be the exit too, like, because didn't they say that he was shot in the back? Didn't the autopsy say he was shot in the back? I'm sorry, I know her testimony is confusing, but I'm going by the autopsy, which said he was shot in the back, in the
Well, we
back of the
technically
head.
we haven't heard the ME yet, right?
Okay,
Well,
so when we do, we'll be
yeah,
able to clarify that,
yeah,
because
yeah,
just
yeah.
because the holes have gunshot, that's gonna be coming and going. The residue is coming and going.
Can you have gunshot residue going? I didn't know that. I thought it was
I
just.
don't know, like, if it's coming out the hole, why wouldn't it leave anything there?
I don't know. See, that's why I need the ME. I always rely on the ME to tell me,
I mean,
exactly.
otherwise, what is it only like, even if it's only on the tip, why couldn't it be on, like, that's what I don't understand. Why couldn't it be?
I think it's
I think
because
the fibers and
it's
the
the
type of
blast.
hole
No,
would
it's the
tell you
blast from the
more.
muzzle. I think that's the gunshot residue is the blast from the muzzle.
Okay, but the one wound, the one hole rather, because she's not talking about the wound, she's talking about the holes in the sweatshirt
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
up near the top. Isn't that the one that has the very close, that she said was close range, like really close range,
It's
like
here.
right on top of?
It's basically here. I'm looking at the thing. It's like here, and then H is over here. So it's like by his face and by his. That's the close range. That's what she's saying. Was like his shoulder
Okay,
and his
so that
face.
means he's behind him, right? And then and then Keith tries, like, realizes what's going on and tries to get away. First shot misses, like, goes right, like you said, through the sweatshirt. You showed me the first one by his ear,
Hmm.
like, goes right through, and then he gets him in the other one, and then he shoots him the rest in the back.
Hmm.
But that means he's right up next to him, is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
sure.
There's not really a big scuffle going on. He's not shooting him from farther away. Like,
Yeah.
he's waiting for him. He's right next, like right near him
I was actually
when he
shocked to find out he was shot in the front. I thought he was just shot in the back because they found three casings underneath his body on top of that. So that means
right,
he was
like,
on the ground and he's getting shot while he's on the ground.
well, I think he wanted to just make sure he was,
Yeah.
maybe that. So that is very confusing. If he shot him frontwards first,
Hmm.
he's still waiting for him and ready with the gun. After all,
Hmm.
we know he's waiting for him because he knows he's going to come out. He knows he's going to come out. That's why he cut the power. He knows he's getting him out of the house. He
Hmm.
wants him out of the house and done first, so he can't protect Jennifer and the kids, because he knows his brother. His
Hmm.
brother would do anything to protect them. And he doesn't want to get into that. He needs to take Keith out first. And
Hmm.
that's another thing that goes to who knows the family, who knows the behaviors, who knows the layout of the house. It really speaks more to Paul than
Hmm.
any stranger. Either we know it's not a robbery. Again, Miss Messalone, you're concentrating. Andy Murray, you want to talk about jewelry bags being left out and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
are actually making it that it's somebody who knew the family and just wanted them dead. It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't anybody, coming to do anything and got discovered. It's more leads to Paul. Like, every time you do stuff like this, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's frustrating for me because the jury can look at it both ways. So they're taking a big risk.
Yeah. Well, let's address Red Snap because I've been, obviously the more we hear, the more we're trying to figure this out. Now I'm thinking it was an ambush. I'm more in the line of that, and that tree that was knocked over. I don't know what happened with that, but Keith was found face down, so he's got. I thought he just had wounds on his back, but now it seems like he had wounds on the
Hmm.
front of this jacket as well, and on the top of his head. So if he was ambushed, do you think he must have turned to face his attacker, and we'll just say that for
Hmm.
now. So how then does he end up with holes in the front. He's got one here and then one like here. So he's got two holes like in the front. So that
He could
means
just as easily be ambushed from the front. If Paul's coming around from the generator, he's going out the door towards the generator in the electric, and Paul's coming the other way from them. He
Mhm.
could just as easily ambush him with the gun and shoot right at him as soon as he sees him.
Sure. So you get shot once or twice, you fall back or you spin around.
Yeah, but if he started to go towards him, he's in motion. Now he
Yeah.
sees somebody. He's just been shot out with a gun. I mean, we just talk Jersey style here. He's going to barrel towards him.
Yeah.
If that gunshot didn't take him out,
Hmm.
he's going towards him with his head down like a bull,
Hmm.
gonna get this guy. And
Hmm.
so that could happen, and they could have tussled a little bit, maybe the tree then. But all I
Hmm.
know is that he definitely finished the job with everything in the back. He's definitely, I've heard multiple times. I'll be surprised if the ME says that those shots weren't in his back, because
Hmm.
we've heard repeatedly, haven't we, in articles that of all these shots to the back.
That's what opening said. Even her opening was he was shot in the back multiple times, or in the head, I think. Shot in the back and then shot in the head
And
multiple
shot in
times,
the head, and I think that was to make it look like it might have been something,
like a hit.
more nefarious, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
But it could have been ambushed from the front just as
yeah.
easily as from the back, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Sure.
Um,
Another thing I was disappointed is in the I forget which was it Cordoma, I think. He's the one that brought Joseph Cordoma. He's the one that first brought in the jacket, and he had little marks, and I think there were three in the back of
was
the
that
head.
Cordoma or Castello? It was Cordoma, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it was, yeah, because it was this week. He was Tuesday. He had three little tags in the back of the head. Then he had one like in the middle by the waistline, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's what got him down. And then he stepped up and he shot him in the back of the head. But then Judith here, she didn't have any holes in the jacket by the waistline. So I'm like, well, again, I was like disappointed with that. I'm like, but we clearly saw it was tagged in this one testimony, but why didn't you identify that in
Did
your
we
testimony?
did we see she mentioned A through H? Did we see every one of them?
I've got screenshots of the front and the back of the full, and she didn't. At least on these two diagrams I'm looking at,
Because
she
that's
doesn't have
8
it.
shots, right? Right? That's 8 shots. She mentioned that she documented 8, A through H.
Yeah,
So that's the 8 shots that
I'm
I'm
assuming
thinking,
she had a
right?
C. Yeah, ABC is three. ABC, where's D? Yep, D, E, F, and G. Yeah. Oh, and an H. Yep. Yeah, yeah. So she's got them all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe they just didn't discuss it, or she didn't show it, or they didn't pull it up, but that doesn't mean it's not in the report, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Again, the ME, the autopsy. That to me is going to. I mean, so far it's pretty
The
damning.
ME and the
But
DNA and ballistics, we're gonna hear about
yep,
matching up of ballistics too.
yep.
Although we already know that the same gun that Paul owns and that was found on him
Mhm.
matches the caliber of bullets that were found on the site. They've already mentioned this, like,
Yeah,
well, they're gonna have to say how they tested it. Like, to get that actually in as a statement, they're gonna have to say how they tested it and what they did.
yeah.
Um, but
I
yeah.
I think for me, the Emmy is going to show what we're all talking about. Was he ambushed? Was he shot in the front first? I don't think they can determine
Mhm.
what order, but if it's like two in the front and five in the back, then it's like, well,
Well,
you know.
what's really interesting to me is the time that he gets there to the time that Keith comes out,
Hmm.
okay? I
Hmm.
think that I don't think it took all of that. When we see a 15-minute video of all that moving around outside,
Hmm.
right? Did
Hmm.
we not already hear testimony of there being access to the basement some way around the corner from the electric in the generator?
There. Let me think for a second. I have diagrams of the basement.
Because what if he's actually preparing the start of the fire while he's already doing this, which would kind of, and this is what in answer to your thing about the timeline towards the end, how
Right.
fast could he get that fire going, and dismantle, whatever he had to down in the basement, and how fast could he get that fire going, get out and get into his car and go? Well, if he's got it already starting, like the process of it, and it just has to be lit, or
Right.
he just has to do one or two other things. Like, I think there's a lot more going on at the time that we see this person and all this noise, all that noise that was going on. I
Mhm.
mean, he's obviously setting something up and doing something else. It takes a lot more. It didn't, I don't think it would have taken that amount of time, is what I'm trying to say, to
Mhm.
dismantle the meter in the generator.
Right. There's two entrances. There's the one where Jennifer was found, right? When you first walk in, there's that
Mhm.
basement by the kitchen, where she
That
was
one,
found.
because he would have ran into Keith.
Yeah. And then there's one, I'm showing this. There's one that says stairs to garage. So apparently the garage had access to the stairs as
Right.
well.
And then some garages actually have a door besides the big door, like on a side or something, but I don't remember hearing anything about that. I was just wondering if he could have had access to that basement, or near, or at least prepare things to go into the basement before. But you're
One-
right. Based on where the body is, he more than likely went down those stairs. That's why Jennifer's body's there, because Jennifer was in the basement helping Keith. Keith
Mhm.
comes out and he wants to check this, and Jennifer's down there,
Mhm.
helping him with whatever, with switches or whatever, and the kids are in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So
It must have happened fast because Miss Mastalone made a point several times, not only today, but in previous weeks, about nobody called 911 from Keith's house, meaning Jennifer didn't call. So you hear gunfire outside your house, knowing your husband just went out there. What's your first reaction? You're
well,
going to
that's
call.
why she's at the top of the stairs and not in the basement.
Yeah,
That's why the body's not in the basement.
right. But you're going to
She ran up
call
the
me.
stairs,
Yeah,
and the
but
body is, the way the body is positioned, she's coming up out of the basement
yeah,
and
yeah,
runs into Paul Caneiro with a
yeah.
gun
So
and a
he
knife.
so he shot his brother and booked it booked inside quickly because
Those
he's probably
stairs are right in front of the door, and the body is found
yeah.
outside the front door by the tree, right towards the thing. He
Yeah.
runs right into the door. Those stairs to the basement are right over there. They're
Mhm.
right there. He doesn't have far to go. The
Mhm.
kids wouldn't have even saw him yet. They would have
Yeah,
heard the gunshot though.
I'm sure they did. That's what I'm saying. I would have thought she would have called 911. So he must have made it in so fast that she didn't have time to even process that. Maybe she was in the basement. Maybe she didn't even hear the
That's what I
gunshot.
think. I'm
Yeah.
thinking she was in the basement because, and then she's coming up, and
Or
that's
maybe
where
she
she
heard a pop and she's like, "What's that? Let me go
and
investigate."
runs
'Cause
up and runs up the stairs and runs
yeah.
into Paul right at the top of the stairs. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I'm, you just like, this is all speculation, obviously.
Of course,
But
of
I'm
course.
just
Yeah.
thinking how they, where they found the body and the position of the body.
Yeah.
Um,
But it makes sense that you're not gonna take out Sophia first on the landing going upstairs. That doesn't make sense because then you have
well,
to come back.
Sophia is, I think, it was the last one to have it, and I think she did run away after what happened with her brother.
Yeah.
He was trying to get them both, and she did run away and try to get up and get away. And I think
Right.
on the stairs, a little bit of kicking, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of screaming, and that's why there's so many
She was a
injuries.
ninja. She was a ninja, don't forget. So she was probably you're
Yes,
right. She's kicking,
yeah,
of course. I mean, you're fighting
right.
for your life,
And
of
here's the
course.
thing about Jennifer's phone. It also leads to that Jennifer was in the basement, because with the amount of freezing and water and fire and everything that happened in the basement, could
Mhm,
Jennifer have left her phone in the basement? I mean, I know she had it with her. She was communicating with Keith. You would think that she would want to communicate with Keith. He's outside with his
mhm.
cell phone, and they got to talk back. If she's down there to help him, how are they communicating?
She'd have to have
Okay.
herself. Yeah.
Okay, so Paul either took that phone from the basement and tossed it somewhere, or it
Mhm,
got destroyed in the fire. Like when she ran up the stairs because she heard the pop, the
mhm,
phone was left in the basement.
mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think it's, yeah.
yeah. I just wanna pull up the thing about the silencer. Who was, yeah, put QQQ, you guys. Do a QQQ in front. Thank you, Jenny, for
Mhm.
that helps us. That helps us, thank you. But, somebody just asked about the silencer. Paula, did he have a silencer um, in the backpack? This was in openings. Backpack, there was credit card, bank,
Right.
savings bond, passport, a 9 millimeter silencer. So we are still waiting for ballistics to test all of
Yeah,
this.
those were found in the backpack in his wife's car, like after. Like
Hmm.
he had them with him. He put that in the wife's car when they
Right,
were at the fire at his house. It was part of the stuff he made sure he brought with him.
right. So it's possible, but if he had the silencer, then the neighbor wouldn't have heard the gunshots.
Well, let's talk
Right?
about the neighbor.
Yes. What's his name again? I loved him. Kapora? Dennis Kapora?
Cora.
Yeah.
Yes, I do believe he heard something. I really do.
Yeah.
I do. And he just conveniently, it's the same amount of shots that hit Keith Caneiro. But what about the other shot to Jennifer
Mhm.
and all? He didn't hear those? And
She's
they happened
inside.
after.
Yeah, she's
I don't
inside, I
know.
guess.
Yeah,
It's not,
I don't know.
maybe it's muted.
Um, and then we're hearing of what is she got the beep 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 of what she says is a car alarm.
Mhm.
Okay, like if you know the area, you've seen pictures now, right? You see how there's all these open fields around the houses, and then they're all surrounded by little sections of wooded area.
Yep.
In it's really, really quiet in that area until it's not. If
Mhm.
you slam a car door or a car alarm goes off or a gunshot, hunters, you hear it
Mhm.
everywhere. Now,
Mhm.
those gunshots could have been Keith Caneiro's house. They just happened to fit the timeline, or they could have been a mile in the other direction,
Mhm.
or two or three. I'm not
Mhm.
doubting the man, but the man did change his testimony a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay. I think it's silly that Massillon thinks if they actually took the man's phone and got all his records that they would find out when he actually heard the shots. That's not true. He said he waited to call 911.
Mhm.
So the only thing we know is when he called 911. And he says he probably heard the shots minutes or two before.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, he heard shots, he woke up, he said he laid back down for a minute or two, and then he called, and
Right.
that's when
And
he said, yeah.
credit to both detectives who wrote down the first thing he said, which
Mhm.
it was more than likely 3:26, like only like 3 or 4 minutes, not the
Mhm.
minute that Miss Messalone wants you to think, because
Mhm.
she's like trying to like make the timeline tighter so that, Paul couldn't have done any of this.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if it's closer to 3:26 or even a few minutes earlier, it fits.
Oh,
We Let me just ask you this. We
yeah.
know he's on the if it is him,
Mhm.
based on the car video surveillance, okay,
Mhm.
based on the garage capturing of a figure, we know
Mhm.
somebody is there at that
Yeah.
time that he
Right.
supposedly could have heard the gunshots. So probability is there.
Yeah.
It definitely, it doesn't matter what Mr. Lone says about a minute this way or a minute that way. We already know somebody's there, and that
Mhm.
in that timeline is fixed.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
when exactly somebody pulled the trigger, only Paul Caneiro can give us those figures, but based on his willing to defraud the system and steal from his own brother, I'm not going to believe him.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm not going to believe him.
Right.
But
Right. Do you think that the defense, if they put on a case in chief, do you think they're going to bring in a doctor to attest to Paul's lack of mobility? He
if
is
I
not
was them,
able.
I would. The
You,
only witness I know of is a fire expert who is challenging all of the experts on if it was a slow burning fire or not,
mhm.
trying to take away the timeline of the discovery of the bodies and everything in Colts Neck.
Okay. So they're going to bring up somebody, a fire expert, that's going to say, well, the fire started more
Well,
like at 10 or
it
11.
was their intention. They used it when they were trying to get that evidence, trying to get these experts tossed
Mhm.
from the state. Those evidentiary hearings that happened in pre-trial, they were trying to get all of that. And it did narrow the scope, you
Mhm.
know, but they are going to be able to contest it based on what happened in the hearing with their own fire expert. I know. And I do believe they'll bring in their own ballistics expert because they already challenged that.
Mhm.
And I would expect that they're going to bring a DNA expert in to challenge StreamX, even though they lost that fight and the evidence came in.
Yeah.
It would not be wise for them not to fight it tooth and nail.
Mhm. Yeah, that for sure. I can definitely see them absolutely fighting that. Yeah.
Mhm.
It wouldn't surprise me if they bring in his doctor, because he had to see a doctor, or the person who operated on him, or did he have an operation? I don't even know. His therapist, physical therapy, bring in any of those people. I would think to say to again plant that seed of doubt of like, wow, yeah,
Well,
his mobility is
according to anything, I have been researching this and I'm trying to find any evidence of it. There's been no articles, no statements from anyone in the family mentioning that he was still going under any kind of treatment. I've combed through everything for
Okay.
all of the articles, and I'm trying to find something like that. I do know that he won a settlement outside of the regular insurance payment for the auto accident. At first, he was also in this very bad auto accident. He was actually also ticketed for reckless driving, but he actually won that, and it got dismissed. And then everything went on the other driver. And then he sued, even after he got settled and he got a larger settlement. He sued that driver for not having enough insurance to cover his serious injury. So he settled that lawsuit for $120,000.
Okay.
So, but he was immobilized for a period of time in 2012. And there is testimony in articles that say family members said that Paul Caneiro was never the same after that accident, that he was grumpier, he was, uppity a little bit, he was in pain a lot. He was not himself anymore. He was a changed man, that accident changed him.
Okay.
And that it was obvious he was in pain a lot.
Right.
They're saying it was a back injury.
Right.
That prolonged back pain is what he has now. He had his leg, his hip, and his back injured in the accident in 2012.
Okay. We were watching our deep dive, a couple weeks ago now. He walked into one of the hearings and you could see him limp, and I can't remember how pronounced it was, but it was pronounced enough that I could see it. Now, whether or not he was, exaggerating it, I don't know.
Oh, wait, the hip, there was also knee. So,
okay.
Anyone who's had injuries or hip or anything to do with joints, in that you end up with a limp, a limp isn't always inability for anything. Actually, a limp is a compensation, or it could be a settlement of surgery in the bone, or how the muscle gets used now. But it could also be pain response. A limp could be pain response on how his body shifts. So it's hard to say. A limp doesn't always. I mean, I can tell you this just because, like, I have a limp, and it's never stopped me from doing anything. I don't think anybody would say I couldn't do a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
It's not from pain. Your limp is not from pain.
It's not from pain. It's from the result of a surgery.
Okay.
But it's not from pain.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm saying, like, we don't know, the basis of the limp,
all right,
or whether
he's
still being treated for the limp.
Yeah.
But we do know he did have a reason to go on disability. But the problem is that he shouldn't have been working and getting that big salary. He never stopped working for his brother's companies. He went to work every day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then, as we know, Susan then was collecting his paycheck while he was still on disability.
And Susan apparently was very upset. Like, the phone call with Tiffany was a little bit enlightening, because Susan is immediately afraid of what's going to happen to her, it sounds like, too.
She does. She says that.
Because of the disability, because of what he's been doing. Not that she thinks he's a murderer, but she pretty well knows he's been doing stuff on shady that he shouldn't be doing. And that she's going to be implicated.
Yeah, let's talk about those phone calls. So to me, she sounded very distant, dismissive. Like, what was your take on it? Had you heard those calls before?
Yes. No, Susan or Tiffany?
Well, Susan. Yeah, Tiffany was Tiffany's the office manager, and she was
both businesses and works with both brothers, and was actually the one they interviewed the very first day they went to the offices, right after the incident, and got all the information on what was going on there. She's the one that told them the percentages. She's the one that told them about Susan getting paid, that could confirm all of these. And she did the right thing as a citizen, and she did. She answered the questions as honestly as possible. Well, she don't want to get them in trouble. I think that's why she's not actually being put on the stand. I don't know if they're going to bring her in later, but they got information from her direct, right then and there. That appeared in the newspapers that week, in the Asbury Park Press, in the Patch, and a couple of other local papers. It was a big scandal. but he goes to her, and it was telling with the conversation with Tiffany. He's asking about the money, and he asking about money from the trust account,
Mm-hmm.
like to get in there and move stuff around. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And do
Yeah.
you hear her answers? No, it's all locked up. We can't do that. She's protecting herself. This is like
Mm-hmm.
days later, and she knows everything's
Yeah.
locked down, and she's protecting herself, but she's still trying to do her job, but still not get put
I
into
think
all of
I
this.
think it was there were 3 phone calls that we heard, and one was the one to Tiffany, I think was December. I think there might have been 2 in
No,
December, then
Tiffany was in November. It was the first call that they played was Tiffany, wasn't it? And then or
uh,
was it November? It's
hold on. Um,
because he's talking about getting it's soon after he was arrested, because he's talking about getting Susan some money because
yeah.
she has to pay bills and she needs access, and Tiffany has to help her in some way. Most of the conversation was going that way. And he was very upset to find out that Corey was helping them with the business and was helping Susan. And he didn't
Mhm.
want Corey to have any access to the accounts.
All right, so the first one was December 5th. That's the one that Joelle or Noelle answers, and then it's transferred to Tiffany, and that's where she
Mhm.
tells him about the whole Duke thing, and he's
Mhm.
going on and on about that, the non-compete, all that stuff, and then he's telling her to cancel all of his accounts and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So that was, what did I just say? December 5th. So the
Mhm.
20th to the 5th,
December
so
5th.
2 weeks
Mhm.
or so, yeah. And then the
Mhm.
next one is again to Tiffany, and that's December 14th, so another week or so.
Mhm.
And then the one January 27th, uh, let's see. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry. That
Susan?
wasn't to Tiffany. December 14th was to Susan. So
It
there's
was
only,
Susan. She finally was able he
yes.
could not get a hold of Susan because she has RoboBlock, right?
Right, right,
On
right,
her
right.
phone, so it means she can't get unidentified phone numbers on her phone, which means
Yes.
prison calls could not go through. So he was
Yep.
instructing Tiffany to let Susan know how to get rid of that, and this is why he can't reach her. He wants to reach her. No,
Yep.
she's not trying to reach him. Obviously, she hasn't been there yet to talk to him if this is
Hmm.
how he's acting, which I
Yep.
found very interesting. And Tiffany
Right.
is saying how upset Susan is. She's been crying, she's upset,
Hmm.
she's worried, she's concerned.
Yep.
And now that brings you to the phone call with Susan that you wanted to ask about her demeanor, right?
Right. And that's the December 14th, to which Paul says, I wanted to thank you for coming, and it was great to see you. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, then all of her replies in this are very like, yeah, oh, okay. I mean, it's
Well,
really, really,
let's look at the
right?
big picture here. The man who left you for another woman lives somewhere else, then came home right before this whole mess, where
Right.
he is putting you in a mess of trouble.
Mm, true.
And I mean, how are you going to answer him? Like,
I,
yeah, I
I'm
mean, I'd
surprised.
be thinking,
I'm,
I might be married. I might have 2 grown children. We had a great life, but how much is this worth it now? Like, what the heck? What the heck?
right. I'm actually surprised. A lot of people in chat were like, I wouldn't even answer the call. I would just hang up. I wouldn't, because it's like, will you accept a phone call from,
Well, it goes to tell you, look how long till she visit. He's thanking her for visiting, which means she didn't go there when he got arrested. She didn't go there for the weeks
right.
before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, she's upset, and a lot of stuff is happening to her. She
Hmm.
can't pay her bills. She has no access to money. Of
Hmm.
course, if they think that they were paying her and she doesn't actually work there, which she told the police herself,
Hmm.
by the way, that she didn't actually work there, and when they discovered that she had the paycheck.
Oh, she told them. Okay.
Yes, she confirmed it. I
Oh,
think Tiffany said it the very first couple of days, and Susan confirmed it. It says in the article I read, it said
okay.
that Susan Caneiro confirmed it, confirmed by Susan Caneiro,
Okay.
which documented the fraud right
Okay.
there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so one thing I was going to say was that we only heard, these select phone calls. There could have been other phone calls, and maybe the defense, I'm surprised the defense didn't cross them on that, but maybe they'll bring up other phone calls where, because a lot of people are saying, oh, he's not talking about the funeral. He's not saying how sorry his brother's no longer with us or
He
whatever.
did.
He's sad.
No.
Maybe that happened in other phone calls. Again, the state's not going to play, oh, I really miss my brother. I can't, oh, I'm so sorry. State's not going to play that. They're just going to play the ones that are most incriminating.
And they were rather incriminating because his first concern was moving money around. And he actually talked about an account that doesn't belong to him and moving money around out of that,
Yeah.
which means his mind was still there with like he can do whatever he wants. And I thought that was pretty telling.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm glad they heard the interaction with him and Susan.
Mhm.
It's gonna go like if they do bring Susan or the daughters on the stand,
Mhm.
it's gonna actually play a part in it. I have no idea what the jury would be thinking right now about that
Mhm.
because
What specifically, that she had a hand in it, or what
well,
specifically do you think the jury's
when you
thinking?
first heard about all of the money that they were making and all the money that was getting spent,
Uh-huh.
human nature would say like, how would the wife not know?
Mm. Mhm.
How
Right.
do you use your wife's social security and she gets a W-2 every year in her name and has to get taxes filed and you don't know what's going on? Like, yes,
Mhm.
she does know. Well, she never thought that she would like, maybe it was explained to her in a way where it wasn't any big deal or like whatever. And now
Mhm.
she's finding out what it actually is, or she's being held to task for it and it's not what she expected. So she kind of knows, but she doesn't know.
Mhm.
Or, I don't know,
Did she
how complicit.
did she work at all? I mean, outside of Square One and all that, did she have a profession, do you know, or
I
do you
am I am unaware. Everything that I've seen calls her a housewife. I'm not sure.
right,
Some
right,
of the stuff that he asked, like, do you
right.
remember Paul saying, like, "What'd you do last night? What'd you do Friday?
Yeah.
What'd you do the?" Like,
Mhm.
some of those answers were really, really vague, and like,
Mhm.
she didn't talk about work. She didn't talk about anything like that, right? So
No,
I'm not sure. And if you're
no.
making that much money on your, with your husband's why? Why would
Right.
you work? It doesn't sound like she knew how bad the finances were, to
Mhm.
tell you the truth.
Mhm.
Um,
As far as what, how much he stole, or wait,
yeah, or how bad him not paying bills, things being behind,
okay,
the
that,
extra
yeah,
money he's putting in other areas, like
yeah.
traveling all over the place. I
So
don't,
those,
I don't think she had a good grasp of that.
and those were not joint accounts. Those were his own accounts that he was transferring all that money, or were those
He had
joint
quite
accounts?
a few accounts on his
Mhm.
own that had nothing to do with her.
Okay. So when he's transferring money back and forth and he's in the rears by like $5,000 and he transfers over 6,000, those aren't joint accounts. Those are just, I thought.
That's a Paul Caneiro only account, and it's from
Mm,
the trust right to Paul Caneiro, doesn't have anything to do with Susan. Then
okay.
he would send money from that account to their joint account.
Okay.
But her payroll got deposited to the joint account.
Okay. Because I do remember seeing some testimony, seeing some screenshots and evidence that her name was on it. So that was,
Yeah, that
um,
was to show the payroll accounts going to
okay.
her account that were, Paul's work and her pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's get to some questions because we're getting some good ones here. Um, Kathy asks, "Is Corey running the company now?"
Yes, he is. He is actually keeping them afloat. He is the trustee of the estate. He's keeping it afloat for the estate. The companies are owned by the estate because
Okay.
Keith is the primary owner of both. Paul Caneiro's in jail, even though he owes 50% of EchoStar. He can't touch it until this is resolved. So
Right.
Corey, for the families and the estate, is keeping everything going. And he started to do that and to help Susan right away to try to navigate some of this. He could only do so
Right.
much though. But by keeping those accounts, keeping those businesses up is protection for the state in the long run. Although he is being sued by Jennifer's family because he did take over as trustee right away.
Ah,
And they're talking about him buying this $1 million home. Well, in all honesty, if he is the surviving person to get
right.
his 1.5 million, how he spends it is his business. If he bought a big home and
Right.
got out of his financial trouble, I mean,
Yeah. Well,
not
optics.
like he planned it. It's optics, yes, but
Yeah.
still, what are
Yeah.
you supposed to do with all the okay, I'm sorry my brother is dead, but he left this money to me. Am I not supposed to spend it because my other brother did all this? Like
Right.
I don't know.
Well, then it's blood
I know
money and
yeah,
yeah.
I think they're all upset, and
Yeah.
everything, but I don't know. I don't mean to be such a champion for Corey, but I just think it's
Mhm.
really easy to pick on him because they don't know enough about it. They don't know enough
Right.
about what's going on. But I
Yeah.
have to say, to keep everything running, yes, does he have a benefit because he gets to get paid for doing this? He gets to get paid to be the trustee, and he gets to be paid to keep the businesses running as the last survivor. So his life did get better, but it's
Mhm.
also doing some good for the estate, right? And it's also keeping things going until this is solved with Paul.
Mhm. So, is Square One still going even though they lost the Duke contract? Do you
Yes,
know?
they did have, I think they're smaller, obviously, but both
Yeah.
businesses are active. That's what I just read. As of
Okay.
2026, both businesses are up and running.
Yeah. I would have
Whether
sold
they're making
EcoStar.
money or profitable, I have no idea.
Right. I would have sold, EcoStar to Terminix for $500,000. I mean, they were asking for
How
like
how
8.
are how are you gonna do that when one's dead and the other's in jail? You can't touch them.
Oh.
You don't have
Oh.
any. Yeah.
So he's running them, but
Corey
he doesn't
Corey's
have.
running them, but he doesn't own them because
Gotcha.
the estate owns them.
Gotcha,
And so
gotcha.
until this is resolved with Paul,
Mhm.
we can't actually take over any of the assets of the estate and do what a trustee needs to do. The
Mhm.
best thing the trustee can do is keep everything in place, which is what Corey's trying to do. He's obviously getting good advice from a lawyer.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that would be his responsibility as a trustee, I think. Yeah.
Right. So Paul is saying, I must admit, I'm a little concerned at the defense pinning this on Corey. Well, they've got to. This is the third party guilt thing, right? They've got to pin it on somebody, right? My guy didn't do
Any
it, so
any defense team would do it. There's three
yeah.
brothers and two of them are involved in this. Man, you got it, like your blood is blood. Pick on the third, especially when
Mm,
they found out that Keith was telling Corey everything.
yeah. And Corey's gets half of the 3 million, so it's
Well,
it's not that.
that's a family thing. Like he wasn't going to choose between his two brothers. He split it 50-50, right?
Right, right. I mean, it's not that big of a jump for a defense to say, "Hey, this guy got half a mil or 1.5. Let's look at him." Let's hey jury, look over
Yeah.
there.
Let's look at him. But does he have
Mm,
his fingers in any of the bank accounts? Does he work for the companies? No. Is he the one
yeah.
on the phone fighting with Keith about anything? Nope.
Right, right.
So
Well,
he'd have to be like the secret ninja.
right.
You
Uh,
know, he's got these secret desires. Oh my God. Like I lived in your basement, but you didn't make it nice enough for me. Like you didn't give me a Porsche and you didn't give me a private entry. So I'm just going to take him out. I don't think it's going to be like that. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like I'm talking, it would have to be really crazy drama kind of story for
right.
Corey to be the one to do this. You need more than, oh, he benefits from it. Because in that case, you have a life insurance policy, right?
I do. Yeah.
Does that make everybody who's on it suspect to anything that happens to you?
Well, they would benefit from my passing, so
Benefit enough to take you out?
depends on how big my policy is, which is not which is not that big.
Listen, I don't know. I just
Certainly
think it
isn't
takes
3 million.
more than being named, which you didn't ask to be named. They can name
Yeah.
anybody they want and they don't need your permission. I think it takes more than being named as a beneficiary to make you a suspect in any crime.
All right, let's get to this one. Sharon asks, and this could be for both Corey and Paul. Do you think he'll testify? Do you think Corey and or Paul will testify? What do you think?
I think Paul would be a fool to testify.
Hmm. Yeah, what would he
I
gain
mean,
from testifying? What would he
he's
gain?
got nothing to gain and everything to lose by taking that stand.
Yeah, sorry, there's a pretty sunset.
Because defense loses control over the narrative as soon as that cross happens. Like
Hmm.
they real
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Um
Although we want to, that's what we want. That's why we watch trials, is to see the defendant take the stand, and
okay.
we're chomping at the bits. Like you said,
Well
bring your popcorn and Xanax.
yeah, let's look at Corey. Let's look at Corey though. If he
Mhm,
takes the stand, to
mhm.
what purpose? What is he going to testify to?
He'll give his alibi. He'll say where he was,
He
and
doesn't have
then
to. He's not charged with the crime. We don't need it.
right.
What does he actually benefit the case?
Um, yeah. So then it would be
I
Paul.
actually think the prosecution was really smart here. because it actually helps the defense to put him on the stand. They got all the information that Corey gave them through other parties into the case.
Yeah.
And documented, because now Corey can't be cross-examined by the defense and tripped up in any way or even make him look bad. Because I mean, he is the younger brother. He did lose his brother. His other brother's in jail. His parents are like looking at him like he's like, what? You know, this I wouldn't want to sit on that stand. It's got to be conflicting. He's going to act weird. Like, and he's going to be judged for everything he says.
Of course.
I think it was a smart move not to so far. I hope they don't put him on the stand. Because if you challenge what the defense is saying by putting a witness on there to challenge it, you're actually giving it credibility. Let's just let them look like they're just barking in the wind.
True. That's true. All right. So that's a big no then for both Corey and Paul.
I mean, if it was me, but it's not me. I mean, who knows? He may be on the defense list. They may. But then he's going to give them an opportunity that it keeps coming up. You know, defense made a mistake by saying they never looked at Corey. They did talk to Corey. He had multiple interviews. He just didn't become a suspect.
Right. Yeah. The night of and the day after. So, I mean, everything was fresh in his mind. I mean, even before he had a chance to like think about things, process it, come up with a story, all that stuff, you know.
They talked to him immediately, and his wife gave them information immediately. He wanted to cooperate. He knew this was a horrible situation.
Yeah. There's a couple comments here about the blood, and we kind of talked about this. So Red Snap's asking why no blood found in the car. Amanda's saying why no blood? Do you believe he had time to ensure he was completely clean? And then Amanda also, there was so much blood around. I'm sorry, he must have been covered, including in his hair. So all three of those are really good questions. We kind of touched upon it, but let's talk a little bit more about that. So that timeline, you're thinking that he could have just stripped all his clothes, but then why then were only the jeans?
Well, you asked me in the beginning. You asked me in the beginning about the plastic container that he put all the stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it make more sense now that the canine dog, that is a cadaver dog, let's not forget that, cadaver dog, actually indicated the Porsche's rear trunk?
Yes.
So it's not the plastic container with all of this so-called bloody evidence in there?
Yeah.
Isn't it easier to carry?
So why is jeans then in the basement?
And when would he put it in there? He would put it in there when he's leaving Keith's house, because he's obviously has it on. He's got the gun. He's got this. He's got all the rubber gloves. But he did leave other stuff. You know, he does. It's not really like there are casings. You know, he owns his gun. He wasn't as careful as he thought. He's not as smart as he thought. He did things in a very smart way. But the things that he didn't take care of are big tells. And then the way he took care of things are also big tells for it to be somebody who knows them really, really well. But what, you know, when we heard about the cadaver dog, the 2 points that they went to, the basement in the back of that car, that was it for me. That proves he transferred what he wore, as far as I'm concerned. Like, and it also about it all being in the plastic container. Why would you put such incriminating evidence in a plastic container and leave it in your basement? Well, it's in the plastic container because it was easier to transport, and it didn't allow to get any blood anywhere else in the vehicle. It's contained. No damage, no trace in the vehicle. Okay. Stripping down all the stuff and putting it in there would do that. Okay. I wish they would have found a garden hose like that he washed off with, but they didn't. So I can't really say that. But I will also tell you that they didn't test the Porsche for blood as accurately as they should have. That came up in testimony. Did they luminol it? Did they do anything? He could have washed it down. We don't know. I don't think the timeline allows for that when he got back to the house, because he did have to set his other fires unless he had them ready to go, which I think in good probability he did have them ready to go. Okay, except for the one by the garage, because that was obviously the way that was set and the way the evidence was left, he was already agitated. He'd already committed the murders, and he's frantic.
Mm-hmm.
He's at
Yeah,
the
that
end
was
of it
that was
now.
hasty.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But the one in the well, I think that was ready to go. I think he just had to light it. I think that was all prepared ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was well thought out, and he got that all there. He had plenty of time before he left to do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did. And then as an afterthought, he wants to get rid of, and here's what makes me think he did transport stuff in that car, because he wants to set a fire near the car. He wants
Mm-hmm.
the car to go, in my opinion. He wanted damage to the car.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, because maybe there might be something in the car, which means
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't so sure there wasn't going to be. He did take precautions, but he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that positive there wouldn't be no evidence in the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the car was like, I mean, it was just like a little smudge on the hood. It's not like
Look, it went out. It went out right away. Like, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking those two guys, maybe they put it out.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said something about somebody running around with a fire extinguisher. I think he put the car out. I do. I don't know. Know. Maybe.
All right. I want to keep on this because this is really good to talk about. So Red Snap is asking, what about blood on his body? And I'm not opposed to your theory. I'm just trying to figure out.
I think there could be blood on his body, but remember, he's much taller than the victims. Besides Keith, he's much taller than Jennifer. She's coming up from the basement. How much blood is he going to get on him when he's down thrusting to somebody coming up from the basement and then he shot her? It's the kids that put most of the blood on him. That's for sure. That's why there's none of Keith's or Jennifer's blood on him.
Mm-hmm. So you think he could have just grabbed the kids and just been?
And isn't he much bigger than them? So we're talking. Jeans in the bottom are going to have the most blood everywhere, and his hands.
Right.
Maybe not so much everywhere else. When you talk about the blood on the scene and it being so bad and that he should be covered with blood, I doubt very much head, shoulders, upper arm, torso had any blood at all. I don't think there's blood in his hair. These are wounds with a really big knife that are going down. Okay. Right. It's not like.
Yeah, that's going to be telling. Again, the ME, they're going to show us, they're going to tell us the angle of the knife.
I know it sounds like I watch too much of this stuff, doesn't it? Like,
no, I mean, this is why we watch, is to figure it out. It's a puzzle, it's a mystery.
But on Monday on my Mayhem, I had read an article that said psychologically we really shouldn't be watching this stuff to relax. Like, it really says something about it. And I'm like, I didn't like that at all. It's like, oh no.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. To me, it's a puzzle. It's a mystery. I'm trying to get some justice for the victims and trying to figure out like what happened to these kids. That's what draws me in. And like I can see it just sits with you. It's like, how could you do this to two little kids? Your brother, whatever, that's one thing, and then his wife, whatever. But then these two little kids, and I don't mean to be dismissive about that, but it's the little kids that I'm like, wow, how could you do that? And then I have to figure out, well, how did it happen? And maybe figuring out how it happened.
It seems like they were the most violent, like, because of how many times he had to go at them. But then again, think about that. They're moving, they're squirmy, they're not letting it happen. Kids, actually, it's not like they're shocked standing there. Okay.
No.
Like,
and you've tried to hold a kid who's trying to swim away from you.
Exactly. And the evidence of going around that island. Okay. One of those kids was running like crazy around that island and he's trying to catch him. And he's leaving blood he didn't mean to leave all over the place. Yeah. But it's only going to be the victim's blood. If we're waiting to hear that any of that blood is Paul's, where would it come from? There's not a single mark on him that bled. Yeah. Well, his left hand, remember he had that puncture. Right. And that's why we probably have it on his jeans, because he got the blood on his jeans first when he hurt his hand at the scene. Yeah. Okay. And that blood was there first, and then the blood from the victims. Right. All right. So this leads us to a really great question. It's nighttime, right? 3:30. The lights are out. How does he get into the house and do what he does without like a flashlight? Because that's going to alert Jennifer somebody's coming in. Do you think he had night vision goggles? Do you think he had some kind of aid to help him? He has all kinds of equipment for shooting long distance and hunting, for target practice, for everything. And who's to say he doesn't have a burner phone with a camera on it and a light? Who's to say he doesn't have a pocket flashlight or whatever? We don't know. Like, we don't know. Who's to say he knows that house so well? Who's to say he just goes in through the door, through the garage, whatever, grabs the flashlight where he knows it is, the Keith's own flashlight? Because everything that's in that house is getting burned and destroyed. Like, there could be stuff in normal places. Like, if they saw flashlights in the storage area or anywhere down there, they wouldn't be thinking that it's the one that Paul Caneiro used. And plus, it's probably melted and destroyed beyond recognition anyway at this point.
Right.
So he could have either used something from the house or another phone, because obviously he's left his phone as an alibi at home. Which, I would have liked to have seen more evidence of Keith and Paul talking in the middle of the night if anything happened. Because I wanted to know if it was more a pattern that he would have answered that phone if his brother texted him.
Right. Yeah, like a month before, a week before, the last 6 months.
Yeah. I think habit is something that is not being talked about, and I don't know why. Habit of him always having his phone with him, habit of responding to calls in the middle of the night, regardless of who it is. I want to see on Paul Caneiro's phone, which is full game, which is, they have full access to. I want to see if he did that. But was it because of the rights of others in those phone calls that they not? I don't know. Because remember, there was a pretrial hearing that limited the amount we were allowed to see from certain devices because it did contain information that wasn't related to the case, that they decided wasn't pertinent to the case.
Right. Wild Angel, I this is a great point, because I was thinking about this when he was pulling, he pulled in wherever he parked, he had to turn the lights off, and then he had to get from wherever he was to the house. So I thought, oh yeah, if there was even a partial moon, half a moon, it would still be, it would illuminate enough.
Yeah.
But there was testimony that it was rainy that night and it was cloudy and it was 47 degrees. It's November.
Yes, but if anybody knows the air, like that also goes to, the area, the house, the everything there, and the behaviors of the people who live there. That points more to Paul Caneiro than anyone again. Even your flashlight thing, like, how did he get around in the house? How much light did he really need to know what he was going to do?
Well, it's pitch black because you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no power. So I would assume, unless there was a full moon, but it was I'm pretty sure it was cloudy because they said it was raining that night. So
there must have been something he had with him. Maybe he had one of those headbands on with a light on it, like that you can wear, or like anything like that, because he is chasing kids around. Like, we know he was chasing those kids. Like, those kids were moving. The crime scene states those kids, like the evidence we've already seen, not even the ME reports, says those kids were moving.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, and they were squirmy. They're like little eels, Obviously, they're fighting for their life, and they're little, and they're gonna. But once he gets a hold of them,
yep. Granted, he probably doesn't have a lot of light, and we don't know what kind of battery operated lights Jennifer and Keith already set up for the kids in the kitchen. Because are they sitting them there in the dark while they go outside? I don't think so.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And wouldn't Jennifer also already have some kind of light on her? I know I have flashlights at easy access in my house because we lose power here a lot. Like, if I was walking around the house, I have a small flashlight. So, but because of the crime scene, remember the damage that the fire did, and the putting out of the fire did even more damage than that. Okay, we've got walls that fell down. We've got stuff everywhere, debris. We got all that water, which, by the way, froze after. Like, they got a mess. It's like a soupy mess when they're going through all this stuff. So it's hard to say. We didn't get any testimony about how the kids were in the kitchen and what kind of lighting might have been provided for them there. It may have been just enough for Paul to do the deed. I mean, it just doesn't seem reasonable they were sitting there in the dark. Does it to you? I mean,
no, especially kids.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Especially kids. let me just check this timeline again. Okay, so the power goes out at 3:52. The texts come in at 3:15, or I'm sorry, Keith is texting Paul at 3:15. So like 10 to 3 to quarter after 3. So it took Keith, maybe 10 minutes or so to kind of wake up and wow, what's going on? And they kind of collect themselves, and he makes his way downstairs. And then shots are fired 3:30. So between 3:30 and 3:42, that's when Jennifer and Sophia and Jesse are taken out. So 3:30, so 20 minutes. Took them 20 minutes because then the Verizon downstairs, that's when they get the alert at 3:42. So 20 minutes to get into the house, locate those three, and take them out. So that's very doable. I mean, that's
pretty much knows where they're going to be, though.
That's very doable. Yeah.
I think it's very doable. I think the longest one was the kids, honestly. I think Keith, very quick. And then Jennifer, as soon as he went inside the house, that was very quick. And then it was the kids. And I think that it's a tight timeline. I agree. But based on how the scene is, you can tell it was tight because you can see how chaotic it is. With the blood everywhere, with the kids and all. But it's doable. It's also documented. I mean, there's no denying the video of the car. There's just no denying it. No denying when he turned off his DVR, which I thought was quite clever of Nicole Wallace to come back with that after the timeline of Mastalone, who only wants to deal with Colts Neck and doesn't want to deal with the stuff that Paul did before and after that actually fit that timeline also.
I just had a thought, and it's not a pleasant thought, but I had a thought of like, so Paul shoots Keith. He goes into the house. Jennifer's coming up the steps. The kids are in the kitchen, and then he shoots her, does what he does to her, and the kids are watching, and they're like horrified. And then he goes into the kitchen, and he could have punched Sophia. He could have knocked them together. He could have grabbed them and try to disable them, and then she escapes and she's running upstairs, but she's injured. He could have even stabbed her, although we know that he got the knife from the knife block. So then he goes after Jesse because Sophia escaped. He does what he does to Jesse, and then he goes after Sophia, and she's injured, so she doesn't make it all the way into her bedroom, something like that. Because think about, he stabbed Jesse 17 times, right? Or was that Sophia?
Yeah.
So
no, I think he stabbed Sophia the most.
Okay, so
from what I remember. Yeah.
All right. So
she did stab Jesse more than I thought at first when we heard the test. I can't wait for the ME for exactly.
Because he didn't have a knife on him, so he had to get into the kitchen and take the knife out of the knife block.
He just took it right off the knife block, right?
Right. So he goes in, he shoots Jennifer. Don't forget, he stabs her too. So he shoots her, then he goes gets the knife, stabs the kids, and then comes back and stabs her.
Yeah, I'm thinking because maybe she was still breathing after the shot. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I'm just I know it's gruesome to think about, but I'm just trying to put this whole thing together.
All I know that all those stab wounds and those children were still alive while the house was burning down.
I know. That's crazy.
And that's why I'm thinking, why do you think he didn't shoot them?
Yeah. Maybe he ran out of ammunition, even though he had thousands of rounds of ammunition. Maybe he ran out.
I doubt he. I mean, to run out of ammunition would be like a big faux pas because now he's left a lot of evidence. Okay, he really has. It would have been much simpler. A bullet does a lot more damage to a small body.
Right. Agreed. Christy, let's see. So he got the kids first, but they'd be screaming. So
they would be based on that scenario of the blood going around the kitchen and around the island. I doubt that happened. There's no way Jennifer would still be on those stairs.
Agreed.
If that was going on in the kitchen.
And Pammy's right. His gun did jam. There was that casing or that live round.
Okay. Okay. I'm forgetting about that. Thank you, Pammy, because that.
Yeah.
Well, that would answer that. That kind of really messed up his plans, didn't it?
Yeah. So, but that was found on the porch. So that How on earth did that end up on the porch? And that was the backside, the back of the house. Like why on earth was he there versus just going in the front door where unless he shoots Keith, he goes around to the back. Right? How does that live round end up on the porch in the back?
Yeah, why would he get I think that it just ended up that from the kitchen because there's direct access to that porch from the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that might be the failed shot that he was trying for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then had to do the other thing.
So then he comes in. Well, then how does Jennifer get shot if the gun's jammed?
Well, he would have went in the front door to get Jennifer. Absolutely. She's coming up those stairs. Those stairs are right there.
Yeah. So he shoots Jennifer. Okay. So Keith first, then Jennifer.
Shoots Jennifer.
Shoots
Okay.
Jennifer. Then he
And
goes.
then maybe he wants to sneak up on the kids because, I mean, they're kids and maybe he doesn't want to look at them. So, like, they're sitting around the counter and he wants to come in from the other side, from the sunroom.
They could be scared. I mean, they just saw their mom get shot because the
right. So he wants to come in the other way and shoot the kids, but then it jams and then he goes into the kitchen and gets the knife.
Yeah. Yeah. That's plausible. I can see that happening. And they're scared and they're huddling together, trying to hide. So he comes around, gets into the kitchen, grabs the knife, maybe stabs him a couple times. Sophia escapes. She was starting to run upstairs. He's stabbing poor Jesse, and then he goes and gets, and she could be wounded. That's why I'm thinking she got wounded. That's why she didn't make it all the way to her bedroom.
Well, yeah, she had 37 wounds. I mean, obviously some of them before she went up the stairs, and
yeah,
just I can't imagine how many times that he went at them and they were still alive. It's just horrifying.
I know. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, this is a good question. Let's get to this beeping noise. You remember Miss Master?
Car alarm. Yeah, car alarm. She says it's a car alarm. He says, I don't know if it's a car alarm. I mean, I don't know. Could it be the generator warning that there's power fluctuations? Could be.
I don't know if it was. I don't. As a car alarm, we were talking about that. Like usually, a car alarm is like your horn, right? It's whatever horn you have, your horn sound, right?
Actually, when I listen to it, I have heard car alarms that sound like that, but I'm actually looking more towards some time of alert alarm in a home. Like,
there were some others in chat that thought it might be like garbage collection, or because it could be that boop boop boop, the backing up of a truck.
Yeah, but that's usually got a bigger pause in between, because I was thinking that too, and also the timing doesn't fit. They almost always come no earlier than, I think by ordinance they can't come before 4:30, 5 o'clock. They can start, and some towns don't even allow that. They've got to wait until a certain time,
like after 7 or something, even. Yeah,
right. For noise ordinance, you can't do like lawn mowers and all this other kind of stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, that's true. All right, so that was a good one. Let's see. Let me get to this is a pretty good question by Paula. Where did Paul's family live while the house was uninhabitable? Do you know where Susan and the kids were?
I'm wondering if it's the house that Paul was in, because he said he didn't live in the apartment with Miss Resrepo that he lived in. They say he lived in another home in Ocean Township, like right in the same area, when he wasn't living at the house with Susan, and that was for the 6 months prior to the event, to the crime.
Right.
And he had just moved back like that during that month or the month before. He had just got back, which I thought it was like kind of slimy of him to say during that phone call, when I get out of here, I want to be with you. I won't be with you. Trying to like secure that testimony, huh, dude? Like, like don't let her divorce you while you're in there, because then you're really in trouble. Like, so yeah.
Right. Sorry. Red Snap says, how did Paul manage to keep his car off surveillance? I don't think he did. Did he? He was caught on.
He didn't.
Yeah, he was caught on surveillance all over the place.
What he did do is keep it out of the driveway and in front of the camera that he knew was going to pick it up.
Oh, maybe at Keith's house. Maybe Red Snap saying at Keith's house, maybe.
I think that's what they mean.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
long driveway, as you saw.
yeah.
I think he's not. I don't think he's as far away as we're all thinking he is,
All right, you
because
think?
Keith's property is all surrounded by trees,
Hmm.
and there are roads on all sides. And even the front of the property has big hedges. We saw them.
Hmm.
Okay, it is a white car, but all he has to do is park a little bit farther down. And he
Hmm.
knows the people across the street are actually going to get an image of it.
Hmm.
Okay, and then they did while he was on that road, but they
Hmm.
can't actually see where he was going to park.
Hmm.
Like they did get an image of him going down the road. Remember that house?
Hmm.
But they don't necessarily see what he's parked. I don't think he had to park that far away, actually.
Right. Okay. JMS, this is a good one. Didn't he say on the call they got what they wanted? And yes, they did. What do you make of that? Because they were talking. Do you remember that part? I can call it up if do you remember
The
that?
records, the accounts are all shut down. Like they got the records for the estate
Hmm.
account and all of that, and they got an actual verbal confirmation from his wife that she
Hmm.
was receiving payroll.
Uh, he
That's
says,
what I think it was.
okay. Uh, I have Paul said she's really desperate. And then Tiffany says she was crying. Then Paul says, I told the police I never knew her. They got what they wanted. I'm here. So who was he talking about that?
The girlfriend? I don't know.
Yeah. I told the police I never knew her. Maybe that was Restrepo. Yeah. But and then they got what they wanted. I'm here. So who's they? The cops, I guess.
I think the cops, because
Yeah.
weren't they complaining later about there's no access to the accounts, nobody can change anything. He says delete all my bill pay stuff for automatic payment from Susan, and she's like, I
Mhm.
can't. Everything's locked down. I can't. I can see everything, but I can't change anything. I can't do anything.
Mhm. Right.
Right. So because that would have been shut down because of the investigation, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Ali Lee, review the timeline if we have not already. We kind of have been, I guess, right? I think we've sort of been doing that. I just
Well,
wanted.
I want to ask you, what do you think of so the witness Stephen Voigt was very well spoken and very direct, and he was
Yes.
on there for a long time. And Mastalone, like Andy Murray, they like defense did what they could, but they
Hmm.
really didn't get anything out of him, did they?
No, he was great. I really liked him. I thought this week, actually last week and this week's this I've got stars next to almost everybody. I mean, the canine canine guy was.
And another thing I wanted to mention is that like this case is 7 years old, right? But
Mhm.
have you noticed that almost all the investigators that are involved in it, from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office or from elsewhere, have all been promoted up? They
Mhm.
started as officers and captains, and they're now lieutenants and sergeants, and they're moving up. Like when they start to talk about what they were doing then, including in the fire department, several of the people that were first responders and did stuff are now running whole departments,
Mhm.
as the head of a unit and stuff. And so, like, I think that leads to the investigation, like, can't be that shoddy. These are people that actually have
Mhm.
been promoted over and over again over the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, how bad can they be?
Mhm. I
Really,
agree.
you
No, I
know?
agree. I agree. The chain of custody is fantastic. Their memory is fantastic. Obviously, they reviewed the reports before they came in, and any
Mhm.
testimony and anything like that. But
And several of them are retired. Castellone is retired now. Zerillo is retired now, and they have to come back. In the one of the fire guys is retired now, and they
mhm.
have to all come back. All these years later, and go over everything.
Mhm.
Um, I think they did a pretty good job. I think for a 7-year-old case, this evidence is really standing out. You would think 7 years later that some of it, with the chain of custody and everything, would have went astray. But it
Mhm.
seems like they've been on it from the start and are still on it.
I
You know.
agree. I agree. Yeah, no, I'm impressed by how knowledgeable the witnesses still are, and it's as if it happened last year. I mean, they're coming back with their during cross. Their direct has been um, uh, very very educational,
Mhm,
illuminating. We're
mhm.
learning a lot. The timeline is really filled out. So yeah, it's
Several of the witnesses actually teach investigation now, in
okay.
fire investigation, in police handling of investigations.
Wow.
Castellone was teaching. The last guy was teaching. The Cardoma, the one you like, is
Hmm.
an actual instructor
Hmm.
now. Like
Hmm.
so that does say like These aren't like lightweight, just officers on.
Right.
Yeah.
Jan asks about Paul's kids. We've seen Susan, and I'm pretty sure I've seen some. It looks like
Both
younger
daughters have
women.
been on trial. Yes, both daughters.
They are okay. Yeah.
Katie and Alyssa have both been with their mother in trial. However,
Mhm.
it should be noted that over the 6 years that all this was going on, the 7 years that it was going on, they did not show up in court until the last pretrial conference.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. And then now they've been there pretty much the whole time, right? The last 3 weeks, I think. Yeah.
I think that is a matter of defense actually saying they need to be there, that it would be a very bad look if your family is not there supporting you in front of a jury. I
Gotcha.
think that has all to do with optics and not actually if you're the family and you have to decide, do you want to be the one to put the nail in the coffin? Probably not. But
Yeah.
are you there actively? From Susan's demeanor and everything, they don't look all lovey-dovey. They don't look all supportive. They're there,
Mhm.
but I don't think it's like the first place they want to be, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
And then I think, okay, that's well and good, and I think like then financially, like there's no way I could be away for weeks on afford that. I mean, that's just a practical question of like, how do you afford that?
Well, obviously, if they're still getting some benefit, if Paul is still an owner in the businesses and the percentages, his family still benefits from them being active in the trust. And I think that's one of the reasons Corey's doing it.
Mhm.
I do think all his disability payments and everything have stopped, but I don't know if she sold the home or things that she's had to do.
Mhm.
Um, we don't know where they're living. And you know what? In some cases, like I think that's good that we don't because they're not on trial here. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And like I really kind of feel for them. It's got to be hard for them too. Um,
Okay, yeah.
and
I think about these trials that, like Karen Reed and, the families are there just day in and day out for weeks on end. And sometimes I think about
but
that.
can we just agree that that family is just like a different kind of family? Like the
Mm,
things that Mr. Reed did,
yeah,
and the support. Like, come on, like that's a different scenario,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right. Let's see. Sally, this is a great question too. What about that SIM card? We heard about him telling Tiffany to transfer a SIM card from one device to an Android. Did you catch that?
Yep. And she says she can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, hey, did you forget they have your phone? Yeah. It was the conversation with Tiffany, you have to admit, was very telling on where his mind was at. And it
Mhm,
was all in covering up and protecting and still doing like it was. It was
mhm,
like, let's get rid of what I think I left out there that they will find interesting.
mhm.
Mm.
Right. Amanda asks, have we seen Paul's police interviews? Also, has he never changed his story? Has he? I'll let you answer that as far as police
I
interviews.
don't believe in New Jersey we're going to be allowed to see those interviews. Okay, if you recall, none of this evidence was even out there or anything. It's not like other trials.
Mm,
Everything's kind of closed up.
mm,
It would have been very prejudicial. We've all watched police interviews, right? And we get a good opinion on what's going on before it even gets to trial.
mhm,
Like and so I don't know. Maybe after everything's over, we'll get to see them if they ever do release them. And
mhm,
I'm not, but also they had them all in the same room at once. I know we won't see those
mhm,
because after all, Susan and the daughters are not suspects in this case. And
mhm,
so any interview that they said they had them there for their protection at first and they didn't know what was
mhm,
going on. The
mhm,
only interview we probably will see, if at all, if they recorded it and if it does fall into some kind of transparency. We've got limited transparency in New Jersey. It's not as open book as say like Arizona or Colorado, where
mhm.
everything's out, right?
Florida with our sunshine laws.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what we need to know will be out there, okay? But if they're not using that interview as evidence, we may never see it. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? We may never see it.
Yeah. They did say, I think it was Brady. I think it was Christopher Brady that said they were all together, but then he said they separated when they
They
interviewed them.
separated them.
They
And
separated
they
them.
did say, and Brady is the first one to say that he was actually suspicious on the way that Paul Caneiro was acting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That everybody was crying and upset. He did. He said the daughters were upset and crying, and Susan was crying, and they were comforting each other, and Paul was not.
Mm-hmm.
Paul wasn't comforting them,
Right.
and he wasn't reacting the same way.
Right. Kind of
Now
like
everybody, kind of stoic.
kind of like what he's doing now. Yeah, he's even in some moments where, like, he's hearing his brother's voice. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the defense is saying don't show any emotion, because we've seen that too, where defendants are afterwards. They're like, I was told not to show any emotion, but I mean,
in a catch-22, it's a catch-22 in an emotional case where children and so much horribleness has happened.
mm-hmm.
It could go both ways. Like, are you not reacting because you don't want to look guilty, or you're not reacting because, like, you don't react, like, because you're guilty?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Red Snap. What about behind the garage door? There were two different people back there. Was it both Keith and Paul? Huh. I don't remember. Do you think there were two different people?
I don't think those shadow images are two different people. I think it's one person.
Yeah, I thought it was one too.
Because I don't think Keith is out there till at least 3:15, 3:18 when he's doing the text messages. I don't think that's the earliest he would be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when he announces he's going out there.
Right.
And he has no reason to announce it after he's already out there for a while.
Right. Yeah. Right. I want to get to this one. Hellrider asks, do you think they have enough to get guilty? What do you think? Oh, are you there,
Claire? Yeah, I'm thinking.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I wasn't sure if we froze or something.
No,
happened. Sorry.
Me, if it's me, if you're asking just me and not a jury's perspective, yes. I say yes. I say due diligence, and I'm looking at it in a big picture kind of thing, that the only one who possibly could do that timeline and everything's kind of fitting. It puts him in too many places, too many opportunity, and he's the only one with motive, opportunity, and ability at the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For me, yes. Okay, yes. Me personally, I think they have enough. I am kind of leaning way towards guilt at this point, improvable. Mm-hmm. However, with a jury who is told to keep their mind open and not to actually look at everything as broadly as we are they even concentrating on the fact of their relationship and that he knows everything in the house? Did they even pick up on that? When one witness says something like, yes, he knows all of the electronics and he helps him with home repairs and stuff like that. Are their brains actually going there? I don't think so. So the way I would look at it, yes, the way the jury is, I think they're still 50-50 right now, in all honesty.
Mm-hmm. And until today, they didn't have a timeline. Here we've had a timeline for a couple of days now, and
right.
They didn't have a timeline.
Yeah, and they saw a visual timeline, and now they got to think about whether that's possible. But do I think they're going to hands down say he's guilty of fraud? Yes. Of the financial crimes? Yes. I think they are definitely going to hands down convict him of that. Don't forget, that's part of these charges. It's all lumped together. He was offered a plea deal for life imprisonment, in 2024 that he turned down. Now the most he's going to get is like 212 years life in prison, like times 4. I can understand why he didn't accept the deal. He's got nothing to lose, really. Right. Might as well take the shot. But how much is that going to weigh on them that they already think he might be guilty, of the other 2 crimes? Does that a murderer make? I think that's a catch-22. If I'm on the jury, it makes me hesitate to just automatically convict him of murder. I'm going to need to be really convinced because it's rather convenient, right?
Yeah. The thing for me is, yes, the motive for sure is evident. The means would be the SUV pulling out of him turning off. That shows premeditation. Him turning off the DVR. How do you get around that? Like, why are you doing that?
I told you that was the linchpin of everything falling into place. Without that, The
Yeah.
timeline really doesn't work. It suffers. It shows premeditation.
Yeah.
He lied to the police immediately.
Yeah.
Like everything falls into place, and they fought really hard for that. I know why the prosecutor. I mean, it's unprecedented to take it to the higher court after you've been
Hmm.
voted against by 2 levels of court. Like the prosecution, it's like you're telling the judge, "You don't know what you're doing." Like,
Hmm.
no. And you
Yeah.
go to the higher court, it got overturned. I mean,
Right.
I think rightly so, because
Yeah.
he did. Judge Lemo was only looking at the garage. He was looking at the whole scene.
Hmm. Yeah. That's a big one for me. His SUV pulling out at a specific time, coming back at another time. What were you doing then? What were you doing between, those 2 hours? What were you doing?
And more than that, why are you lying about it? Innocent people don't lie about that.
Yeah, unless you were visiting your paramour. Yeah, I suppose you could say that. But
Well,
then why
then
was
bring her in to say we had a tete-a-tete at this hotel. Like, yeah.
right?
Well, no, that didn't happen, did it?
But then why is your SUV seen pretty much, at the timeline again, at your brother's house, and then, oh, he's, his family's
And
taken out,
and there's a little hotel or a restaurant on 537. It's open late. Who knows?
Right. I think the excuses are not, like, the evidence is here, and I don't mean your excuses. I'm just saying the defense. Let's say the defense is down
I
here poking holes, excuses, and the evidence is just stacking up, stacking up, stacking up.
It is, because like, why my main thing is, if you are Paul Caneiro, why are you lying to the police from the get-go?
Hmm. Yeah.
That just got to speak loudly to the jury.
Hmm. Yeah.
If all of this is true, that those aren't your jeans because you'd never wear that color. Sorry, I had to take a shot at Miss Westerlund. Who cares what color the jeans are?
Hmm. Right.
What does what? I
See.
don't even understand that. And who cares that there were 2 pair?
Yeah.
Are you going to say, "Oh, well, you didn't test this pair for blood"?
Hmm.
There's no blood on that pair, Miss Westerlund. Why would we waste thousands and thousands of dollars testing for blood that doesn't exist? Like, cut me a break. I know in a perfect world, defense would like us to just test everything in sight.
Hmm.
But really, what got me, and I don't know if you guys, this tells me I might think about this too much. Like,
Hmm.
because when she's like, "Why didn't you dust for prints
Hmm.
for fingerprints?" And here is Castellone, the guy gathering all the evidence, right? The guy who's bagging it and tagging it, so to speak,
Hmm.
in a crime scene that is full of water and fire debris, and their lives are in danger. They had to shore up half of the house so they
Hmm.
could get to the source of the fire.
Hmm.
And she's asking about fingerprints, which are going to be nothing because it is a smoke, water damaged, fire annihilated home.
Hmm. Yeah.
What fingerprints are going to be there?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, yeah, that was, I mean, no. I
Yeah.
mean, and then she tried to get him with the evidence going outside to be thawed.
Hmm.
And I was clapping when he goes, "Yes, in a sealed evidence bag,
Hmm.
untouched by anything outside." And I
Yep.
was like, yes, like, don't let her have that. Don't let her think you just threw it out there onto the freaking driveway to dry out. Like,
Right.
because
Right.
that's how she
Everybody.
was presenting it. Like,
Right.
he just took it out there and didn't care what happened to it. A dog could have peed on it for like
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
again, a great witness coming back, standing, here's the truth. Here's the evidence, here's the truth. And no
Mhm.
matter what is being said to try and knock you off of that pedestal, no, this is the truth. And
Oh,
as long as you
oh,
stick
and
with the
and
truth.
how about sneakily trying to say that there was other blood evidence that actually tested to other people, and how come we're not talking about that? And
Mhm.
he gets to say, "Yes, because a firefighter injured himself and got blood on the scene, and yes, we did test it to make sure, and it was his."
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, "That didn't go anywhere, Miss Mastodon. Like, what are you
Yeah.
showing here? They're diligent. They tested it. They didn't
Yes.
assume it was his. They didn't like make it like, oh, that's probably what happened because that's what he said. They made sure it was his. Okay."
Mhm.
So, like,
Right.
where are you going with that? Like, okay. That,
Right.
like, some of the stuff that she's doing, I don't think is actually helping the defense. I think she thinks it is,
Mhm.
but maybe for a regular, like an average person looking at it on the jury, maybe it is. But for
Mhm.
me, it doesn't. It doesn't at
Mhm.
all. It looks like grabbing at straws.
Yeah. Well,
I
the a
want
good
to.
a good case would be her timeline, and then Miss Wallace comes in and she's like, okay, let's add to the timeline. How about this? And then Miss Mastalone comes back and she does, well, let's add this, so they were kind of like going back and forth, but I think that kind of backfired in a little
I
bit.
think it did. I think that she did a great job recovering from that, Nicole Wallace, and I
Yeah.
do think it was a mistake
Mm-hmm.
for Mastalone to ever write that timeline out for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does give them the opportunity to put all the other factors that they can't ignore. There's a
Mm-hmm.
video of him turning off his DVR when he's supposed to be sleeping. He's driving around at night when he told us he never left his room. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it gives them the opportunity to counter with he's lying. Why is he lying? And
Yep.
here's the video.
And if he's lying about that, what else is he lying about?
Yes, you can tell me I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'm not going to believe you if I see that you lied about all of this stuff. Why am I going to?
Right. I want to get back to Red Snap. This is the garage, two figures. So one was dark, one was white. I got to look at that again. I thought they were both kind of white. I thought both were white.
You know what? There is one where it's all lit up and it does look like the shirt is white, and I know what she's talking about, but I think that's just the angle of the lighting. I just think that is actually we saw that a lot with the camera angles and stuff where the pictures, things look darker or lighter than they are. I still think it's the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's two different people.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You have to think it's like when the light comes on and when the camera video is taking it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's the lighting that did that, but I could see why somebody would think that, because it does go from a bright white to a darker color shirt, like a less white shirt, not necessarily black or anything, but less.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And moving under a light can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, he could have had a jacket on that was shiny, so that when the light shone on it,
that's what I'm saying. What is that, Jadzia Dax? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Could the battery backup have delayed the notification? If so, that changes the timeline and allows more time for setting the fire. Well, we know there was at least a minute. We know there was at least a minute delay.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't hear anything about them talking about a battery backup in that system.
Mm-hmm.
But I know systems have them.
Yeah.
I have one on my Verizon service in my wall, like my garage that brings my Fios, my cable and internet into the house, has a battery backup on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
we have battery backups for our computers, and when the power goes out, they let you know, because it's like boop boop. They like
yeah. Oh, you just said boop boop.
You think it's
maybe that? Yes, that's a possibility. Because isn't he messing with the electricity at the same time that they hear the alarms?
Yeah, it's a sun porch. It's the sun porch camera. Do you think that would pick up a battery backup inside?
The sun porch has like the garage, the basement is right below the sun porch there, isn't it? That area, that triangle, like where the fire and everything was and where this board is. I think it could have. I think he could have heard it.
Could have been.
And it's very faint anyway. Maybe it was Verizon telling you that the power's being missed. Like there's an interruption in the power, and I've activated battery backup.
Mm-hmm. It could have been. It could have been battery backup. Could have been something, the generator even, or
the generator might have a warning that the power's fluctuating.
Yeah.
Like a warning, like it's thinking about kicking on and you should turn it off if you don't want it to, like something like that. But I'm not sure. They don't talk about the mechanics of it very much.
Right. Jenny thinks the beep noise is a red herring. It's just fun to go boop, boop, boop.
You know what? The detective didn't make any. He was trying so hard to say he didn't hear it.
I know. Yeah, I hear something.
Nothing burger. He's like, I hear something, but it's nothing. What? So what? He was really trying to make it a nothing burger.
All right, we'll go one more question here, and then we'll start to wrap it up. Sally, how bad do you think it is going to hurt the defense on how it ended? Meaning, we filed the evidence. Remember, he said that Corey wasn't a suspect. We filed the evidence, and the evidence led us to.
Yeah, isn't that a strong statement? And isn't that what just about every detective needs to say when they ask them about Corey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we followed the
Um,
evidence. Yeah.
It's the only answer to having, I give these detectives, these sergeants, these lieutenants, all of these law enforcement officers, even the first responders in the fire department, a lot of credit. The way they do things is being attacked by the defense, and it always is whenever they enter a courtroom. They are on trial themselves for how they do their jobs. And so I think that's a standard answer. Like, I followed protocol. I went and I followed protocol. I did the best I could. I followed the evidence. This is why I led that way. Or when they talk about the gas station and hundreds of cars, so they're like, that didn't come into the realm of the investigation because it wasn't needed. We were looking for one specific vehicle. Like, it's tough. It's tough for them not to be defensive. You don't want to appear defensive. You don't want to give the impression you've done anything wrong because you don't really feel you did.
Right. Right. Before I let you go, your audio is a little crackling.
I think I just saw a message. Hold on one second.
Okay. All right. Claire's a little crackly. But we're gonna wrap it up anyway. We'll let Claire come back, give her a final say.
Okay. That should
right.
fit.
That sounds better.
Yeah, sometimes when you're on all day, I don't know about you, but something builds up in my soundboard sometimes.
Oh, just gotta kick it, give it a little nudge.
I just have to turn it off and on again, and it resets. And it's
Nice.
Fine. It's telling me it's tired and it wants to go to bed. That's what it's telling me.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for us to wrap it up. All right. So what were your impressions overall for the of this week, and then what are you looking forward to next week?
I was really impressed this week, because I actually, for me, following it for so long, I heard evidence I didn't know about and things that didn't occur to me. And so that's always exciting. And I'm like, okay, well, that's really good. And I could also see that the evidence is building up because I'm watching the defense and I'm seeing how they're reacting, and they are noticing that the jury is responding to a piling on of evidence. I mean, did you notice that with Monica's Massalone's, just her expression when she's sitting there not even saying anything is very somber, very somber. So, I think the prosecution's doing a good job, but we're never going to know until the defense brings out whatever they're going to bring out. Because we have no idea at this point. We don't even get a witness list on either side.
Right. Yeah, it's very aggravating. And Paul's expressions too. He generally is stoic, but there are times where he looks more stressed than normal.
I've seen him flinch on some of the testimony,
Oh, have you? I haven't really noticed.
No, when they were playing that 15 minutes of the garage, like just that back and forth, I could almost hear him going, damn it. Like, who would have thought that it would be capturing from inside the garage, me outside the door like that.
A lot of us in chat are saying the same thing. Like, he's just sitting there thinking, how did they get that? How did they figure it out? How did they get that piece of evidence? I thought I had everything figured out, but there's always going to be something that's going to get you.
I mean, if you saw that garage door, you wouldn't think that the camera's picking you up through it, would you?
No, because it's frosted, right? First of all, it's frosted. Second of all, it's dark until the motion light goes on, Then
and the motion light, which is solar power, because he's, like, he couldn't do anything about that, right? Wasn't they'd say something about that being one of those solar activated ones? Like,
it wouldn't surprise me. I don't recall that specifically, but
that's what I have outside my garage. Like, the sun powers the battery all day, and then
he had the solar panels
at night. Right, he did.
Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me for sure. All right, so I think the timeline for me is definitely building, is being developed and really expanded this week. I thought that was big. I thought What else? The evidence to me is just getting more and more overwhelming, powerful, compelling. I'm obviously interested to hear if the defense is going to have a case in chief, and if they do, who are they going to call? And you said they're going to call at least the fire expert
Well,
to refute. But right
no,
now,
that was based on pretrial. Like that's what they did
yeah,
in pretrial. So
yeah.
yeah, maybe.
So I mean, I I don't want to say it, but I will. I mean, I'm leaning towards guilt. I don't. To me, the state's already met their burden, to be quite honest. So I can change my mind. Obviously, I can change my mind. There's always that moment of that Perry Mason moment of like, oh, I didn't see that. Way to go, messed alone. That
Yeah.
was perfect. But right
Yeah.
now,
It could happen because it could end up to be who's got the most credible experts.
I don't even. I think it even goes beyond that with the SUV. Who's going to be driving that SUV? Who else? Who else would that be? Who else would that be? To me, that's huge.
How about somebody who comes in and says how many Porsche Cayennes there are in the state of New Jersey?
In that area too. In that area,
A very rich area,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, well, there's 5, 10, 15. So you are
Thanks,
utterly
Liam.
fantastic.
Yeah, he knows my love of otters. Thank you so much, Liam. You're pretty fantastic yourself, dude. Yeah, thanks.
Um, yeah, there's certain moments in the trial. Right now, I'm really hung up on the SUV being caught leaving. Well, him taking out his DVR. Okay, whatever. That doesn't prove that he killed his brother's family, but him taking, leaving, well, the SUV leaving, being spotted at Keith's house, the SUV coming back. I mean, that's like, come on, who else is going to be driving that? I mean, who
You
else is?
see, I think with the DVR is more damaging than that because it proves he lied and it proves he's trying to cover something up.
Yeah, but it could be proving that he's covering up his own arson. That's where I'm like, it's bad. Trust me, it's bad. But to me, I'm like, I could spin that to say, well, he's just trying to cover up his own arson. But to me, him
So,
leaving the
so
house,
okay, so he's covering up his own arson, and it has nothing to do with the bloody evidence in the basement that he just put there.
well,
Like, what did
then there's
the
that.
mob decide that like he's the sad sack they're gonna blame everything on, and they drag? I mean, come
Yeah,
on, what
yeah,
kind of mob movies where they drag the evidence to somebody else's house, put it in the basement because he's setting his house on fire, and they're
I
gonna find
know,
it.
I know. It's
It's
such a
like
stretch. It's such a.
it's a bridge too long for me, it's just a bridge too long.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I agree. To me, it's the evidence is it's stacking up, and I think they've already met their burden. And we haven't even heard from ballistics. We haven't heard from DNA. We haven't heard
But
from the ME. So
if
yeah.
I could have gave Paul one piece of advice, you don't want to get caught, you should have used all that evidence to set the fire. You shouldn't have just put it in there. It should
Hmm.
have been you should have
Yeah.
used it to set the fire.
Hmm.
Because I think it's actually going to be the genes in the bullets in the gun that actually convict him.
Once the ballistics come in and they match everything, yeah,
Mhm.
that's well. And then here's what I said earlier with the defense. Maybe that's the moment where they don't match. But then we're like, what? Then my mind will be blown if none
If
of
they
those casings
Yeah.
match his pistols or his
Do
weapons.
you
Then
think
what?
that'll happen last minute after all that pre-trial we did on trying to get the ballistics thrown out? Don't you think we would have heard about that? Like,
Yeah,
it's not relevant because it doesn't match. You can't use it. And
yeah.
Judge would have thrown it out.
I'm just trying to
I mean,
think of if there's any hope, it would be that, I would think, right?
well,
If
they
there's any
could
hope.
get we do know they could get some paid expert to say that.
Uh,
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they
yeah.
could.
This was kind of a bummer. Yes, Linda, they did check the GPS and the cellular data and also the infotainment center came back with no data. So that was kind of
Yeah,
a
well,
bummer.
here's the thing. I wanted to ask you this because I might have missed it because she might have put me, I might have dozed off, not
Mhm.
admitting to it, but I might have. That when they did that about the Porsche, about it being erased, right? Did it actually document that it was just not there, or that all data was erased?
I don't even remember hearing the race. It just said it wasn't available. Oh, hold on. Let me try and find it. Hold on.
Because doesn't that pertinent? If there's no data available at all, that's a big tell. That's almost like that's almost like leaving your phone in the house.
Because I was waiting for, to me, this was going to be huge. Oh, this was a huge moment. And it was the SUV, the infotainment and the cellular data were negative. No data was obtained.
Well, there's no cell data because he left the phone at home. We know that. That wasn't going to ping on any tower from the house.
Oh, I thought the cellular data meant the GPS. I thought that's the way I took it.
Okay, well, the GPS is the chip inside his vehicle, right? And usually if you mess with that or you ask for it to be deleted or you unplug it or whatever, it gets documented somehow in the chip itself. So what I'm curious, like, was it unplugged? Is there a fault, or was it just set up not to record? Like, what's going on here?
That's as far as it got. And I was actually really disappointed because for me, that was going to be one of those moments of like, aha, but then it ended up like, oh, there was no data. So there was that was a big letdown for me. Because it was, the infotainment system and the cellular data were negative. No data was obtained. So I thought when he said cellular data, I thought he was referring to the GPS.
Maybe he means the GPS talking to the cell towers. Like, but if it's dismantled, it's not going to. That's what I want to know. Like, is there a report of it working one day and stopping the next? Because I think that's important for the jury to be able to have one more piece of evidence tying to the car. They do have the hit from the dog. And they do have the pictures that it left the property and that it went towards the house. But they don't have it on the other property. And they do have it coming back. Or a likelihood that it is. However, for the jury, if you're going to put him in jail for the rest of his life on 4 murders that are family members, do you need a little bit more? Like, I think they need a little bit more. So I wonder if they're going to bring another person in, like
possibly
a Porsche dealership owner.
Somebody that's that is an expert in that infotainment system, that GPS. Because to me that would have been yet another nail, and I was kind of disappointed because I had that in my hierarchy of when.
If you're the detective, aren't you going to wonder why? You already got pictures of the car moving. Aren't you going to wonder why there's no data?
Right.
Like, I think there's another piece here we need to hear about. Like,
I think so too. I'm hoping that we do hear that next week. I'm hoping because that's a big moment. Oh yes, the SUV was located at 15 Willowbrook from 2:30 to
And why don't we have that data? To me, it's just why don't we have that data? What happened? So that data, did it go into repair the week before? They didn't plug it in. Did somebody unplug it? Like,
can you even do that? It's like if it's like Apple, if you mess with an Apple iPhone, you void your warranty, everything. You can't.
During the testimony, I didn't hear Nicole Wallace or Christopher Decker ask the person reporting on the GPS data that it wasn't existing, asking why that might be. Like, I would have liked to have heard, and what kind of scenarios can make that not be obtainable? Like,
disappear, right? Yeah. Yep. So. All right, so that's this week. How about next week? What are you looking for other than not a snowstorm that drops you a foot of snow? What are you looking for?
I want to hear from the medical examiner, especially after learning about just this one piece. Remember, we have to hear from forensics for every piece that they tested. So we're going to hear about the knife. We're going to hear about the gun. We're going to hear ballistics. We're going to have DNA blood. We're going to hear, and it's all going to be different texts and everything. So I want to hear more of that. I want to hear more of the testing on all of the evidence that Castellon had bagged up in Saint. And the medical examiner, of course, like that GPS question answered. I'd like to see another tech come in and talk about that.
Yeah. The ballistics. Yep. The ballistics. And speaking of that knife, it was like, we figured it out. It was about a 7.5-inch blade. The blade alone, just the blade. So my finger, that's 7.5. I mean, look at my head. I mean, that's just,
can you imagine?
Just terrible. Just terrible. Now, granted, he's not going the entire 7 inches, but even 3 inches is just terrible. JMS, will the prosecution rest next week?
I don't think so. I think we have at least 2 more weeks of them.
Yeah.
if not 3.
Yeah.
Especially with these 3 and 4 day weeks. We only have
Yeah.
3 days. We have 4 days next week also.
If the snowstorm doesn't snow us
Then we
out.
only have 3 because they're definitely taking either Thursday or Friday off.
Yeah.
And
That's
he said something about Miss Mastalone having another day that they cannot, like they have to work on.
Yeah, that was at the end of the today was something. Yeah, Miss Mastalone tell me
Mhm,
about the scheduling issue. So she's got a scheduling issue.
mhm.
And then I was telling our chat, and you tell me what you think. Like tomorrow they're off. I think it's just something with the court. Maybe there was some kind of scheduling conflict
Though
with the court.
this one for the Friday was a scheduling conflict with the court. They knew when they set the trial date that this Friday was unavailable.
Right,
Something is going on with the court. Either the judge has to be somewhere and do something, or something with another case took
right,
that he has to do.
right.
Um,
Now
so they
next,
knew about this one ahead of time, but not
right.
the juror and not the snowstorm.
Right. Right. No, I totally agree with you. Then how about next? He says it's either Thursday or Friday. So do you think that's with the
Something came
witnesses
up.
or
It
something came up with?
something no,
Yeah.
it's also with the schedule. Like,
Yeah.
remember, we've got 4 attorneys in there. Okay,
Hmm.
the public defenders do have other practices that they're not just public defenders there for him like 24/7. They got other stuff. They may have other things that were going on. The court, remember, this is the highest judge in that court. He
Hmm.
obviously has a very full schedule of stuff that was predetermined. It could be anything. And then we had the snowstorm,
Hmm.
and expert witnesses could get it delayed, especially if they have to bring them in from anywhere.
Hmm. True.
It, it probably all threw a monkey wrench between the juror being sick and then the snowstorm. We have
Hmm.
not had a full week, not one.
Hmm. No, you're right. Week 1 was the juror. Week 2 was the snowstorm.
We had
Wait,
4, yeah.
in week 3. Wait, week 3 is the snowstorm. Week 1. Week 1 was the juror, right? Week 1 was the juror.
Hmm. We started on the 12th. We're
Yeah.
only in the third. We're in the third week now.
Yeah. We're just recapping week 3. So this was the snowstorm. Oh, and Friday was the snowstorm. Wait, no.
No,
Um,
no,
oh, Martin Luther King weekend. That was,
right. Martin Luther King, that was just a
yeah,
regular holiday, but
yeah.
we have not had a full week since the 12th.
Right. So the juror was sick, Martin Luther King weekend, and then the snowstorm this week. So,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
yeah, yeah. And then they're off tomorrow, obviously. Well, what's odd to me is that it's either Thursday or Friday. So I'm interested to. We'll never find out, or maybe we will. But it's like they won't know, I guess, until Wednesday. I'm not even sure when he's going to find out um, when they're off. Because if they
I
are
don't
off
know.
Monday, that means they're in Tuesday and Wednesday. Could be off Thursday, and then they come back Friday. So that's kind of a
Yeah,
weird.
he said he would let the jury know by Wednesday. Like,
Yeah,
he was telling them he can't let them know until
yeah,
before, like, at the latest Wednesday, of course.
right.
So I don't know. We'll see. All
All
I know
right.
is it's another not full week. Now I know
Yeah.
why this trial's going to March 20th.
Right. And then with crossing, every
Defense asked for 2 weeks with Judge Lu. They asked for 2 weeks, so I don't know how much they have to put out. You know
yeah.
how they do pre-trial and they do the conference and all in
Mhm.
defense
Yeah.
when they're scheduling the trial. In defense said they would need at least 2 weeks to present.
Right. Okay. I didn't catch that, but yeah. I was thinking just cross is just taking, every cross takes a while, even though she did kind of it seemed like they toned down their cross, I thought this week. Right?
Did
Did
it
you
really help? Did you hear all those objections today?
There was a lot today. There was a lot of especially after lunch, there was a lot of objections. Like every couple minutes there was an objection, it seemed like. So
Mhm. Right.
all right, Claire, thank you for joining us. You want to just give a shout out to your channel? Tell us where we can
Oh,
find you and what you
you
do.
can find me on Claire View right now. I am covering this trial, but it's in video. I'm doing a live every weekend for my library chats, covering the 48 laws. I think we're on law 24. We're halfway through, and it's a open, like a psychological and philosophical discussion on trying to apply these real hardcore business laws to everyday life. Like there's some little nuggets in there, why it works, and just bringing it modern. It's an older book by Robert Greene, and it gets a lot of pushback on it for the harshness of it and everything. But there are some little nuggets in there, and some things can prepare you for some things that are going on in the real world, and whether it applies to like now in 2026 or not. It's interesting. It's like a fun thing that I do.
It is
But
fun.
right now that's it. We try, and then videos coming out on true crime for all the other. I'm covering like 23 different cases, older ones, not the ones. I noticed that it's not a lot of the ones you guys are covering. Like I've got to do an update on Clenny and Dwayne Davis and a guy called Viper and some other things.
All right.
Got to get that out there. Are you guys covering Rick's Harriman? The list, Long Island serial killer.
I would love to, but New York doesn't show trials for
Right. So because you guys do mostly the live stuff, so
Yeah.
I have the benefit of like doing the information stuff and still being able to do the video. But those are the cases, because that was hard doing Sean Combs with no inside,
Right. Yeah.
But I'm kind of used to it because I did Masterson and I did Marilyn Manson too. Like, and none of those gave us an inside,
we were actually talking about that yesterday for tomorrow. Like, what are we going to do tomorrow? And I thought the Danny Masterson trial would be great, but
the appeal is wicked.
But it's not. Wicked. It's sketches, right? They're just sketches. There's no video.
So there are sketches, but like everything's out as far as documentation of what happened. And now it's in, he's trying to appeal, and Scientology is actually trying to help him with that. It's quite interesting.
Fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. But I find, like 99% of my day is doing live trials. So there's
quite a few going on right now. Like this,
there are. Yeah. So, yeah. So all that being said, I know Erin, I think she's working on something for us to do tomorrow. So we will be live. We'll be doing something. With that, thank you for joining us again as always, and be safe this weekend.
Thank you. And thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. I've been following this case for a long time. Yeah. So it's good to get it all out. It's like therapeutic.
Right. You gotta squeegee it off. Take it off.
I do. There. That's where your name comes from. Okay. That fits. That's perfect. I never thought of it like that. But yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I really enjoy it, Chris. Thanks.
All right, Claire. Take care. Have a good night. Be safe.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Bye. Thanks. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for spending the last couple hours with Claire and I. Again, great insight from Claire. Definitely go over and check her channel out. She does some really great work over there. And thank you, mods, for keeping our chat a safe space for people to express their opinions. And thank you, Erin, for all that you do on the back end. And Erin's been working on what we're going to do tomorrow, which and yes, we are covering Courtney Clenny for sure. So we're going to do an Ego Takes the Stand. So join us tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Let me see. Let's see. All right. Oh, okay. So we do have an Ego scheduled for 9 o'clock. All right. William Zelensky. So we're going to do an Ego Takes the Stand, William Zelensky tomorrow. So with that, have a wonderful evening. Be safe. If I don't see you tomorrow, be safe for those that are going to join us hopefully on Monday. And I will see you guys then. All right. Take care.